Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. My name is Chris, your host for this week's show, and I'm going to crack straight on because we have got a ton to get through. So let's introduce who are my merry crew of men for this evening. First up, you know the drill. He's fat, he's got a beard, he moans like a pensioner at the youth of today. It's Danny the GFP, the Button Monkey. Hello, Danny.
Oh, good to hear your sultry tones again.
Sultry? That makes it sound like you fancy me. Can we not start that rumour, please?
Oh, she looks. What was that? The Alan Davis Thai thing? No, what was it? Tio. Oh, what's his fucking name?
Tayo.
Tayo. There you go. I was near
Yeah.
both parts of it. Oh, she looks nice.
She was nice, yeah.
She was nice.
Oh dear. We'd never say that about John Welsh, of course, because his
Never.
beard is too shit.
Because he's a fanny.
There you are, Dom. That's for you. Right, moving on. Next up, the man Neil Ashton wishes he was. It's journalist, cameraman, reporter. He does it all. It's the quiff with a whiff. It's Simon Collins. Hello, Simon.
How you doing, Chris? You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. When I say you've got a whiff, I meant obviously you smell well, amazing. I would imagine. Do you? What cologne do you wear, Simon? Tell our listeners.
Bit of Hugo Boss, bit of Paco Rabanne.
Yeah. Let's see.
Depends on the day.
You've changed. You've changed.
Don't ask
Moving on.
Steve because you know it's going to be high karate.
Well, funnily enough, should you've just introduced him before I've even had a chance. And I wrote a
Shit.
brilliant intro as well.
Oh.
So I'm going to do it. Here we go. Right, our third guest is the man you'd find sitting in a Polish park holding a newspaper with eye holes cut out over his face, watching as passing Spurs fans stack it over his cleverly constructed tripwire. It's Lord Hillwood himself. It's Steve. Good evening, Steve.
Captain Pirate, how are you, my dear boy?
I'm
Greetings
good, mate.
greetings from a very dark Warsaw. It's bloody weather's gone tits up, and it's got dark at lunchtime. Shouldn't
It's
be
not.
allowed.
It's not good. It's the same in Plymouth. Not quite as that bad, but it's I loved the idea of you sat on a park bench with a newspaper covering, just casually looking at people. That's why I wrote that intro. I could just imagine you doing it. So there you go.
Well, I could imagine myself doing it. But there is one point that if you go out in Warsaw with a Spurs shirt on, you're not likely to live very long if leggy Warsaw fans see you. So it's very unlikely you would see them out, and especially not with a North London derby in the offing. They're in deep hiding.
Beautifully segued, because we will be onto that soon. Right, there is one more amongst us. It's our fourth and final guest. It's the only man who could rival Mr. Davies for liberal use of the F word during home matches. It's Arsenal's best mate and ours, Dan Dog. It's Jeff Arsenal. Evening, Jeff.
Evening, Chris. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
I like that intro. I'm a little bit disgruntled though, because I used to be very, very popular with regards to they'd ask me to come on every single week. Now I get a call every, I don't know, 5 weeks or something like that. I think the quality's got better in the podcast participants, the panel, and I think I'm getting old, mate. So
I blame Danny, mate. To be honest, I think you need to push for a new contract.
the only thing I haven't. It's similar with Rooney. I've not got £2,000 a strand, only because I can't afford it. I'd like to, but you know.
I would put a strongly worded letter, care of Daniel.
I think I have done. They just ignore me. That's what I'm saying to you.
Dear. Danny, you've got questions to answer. But before you answer those questions, Danny, I'm going to come to you because I want to know all about our ladies, our under-21s, and a loan watch. So let me know what's been going on.
It's under 23s now. They've changed it. And
Sorry.
It's actually under 19s for the Champions League. Sneaky fellas, stop fucking around with stuff. Wish they'd do it. Right. Time how long this takes me. Well, actually, I look at my clock there. It's almost exactly 9 minutes past 8 p.m. today. Jack Wilshere and Callum Chambers were both in action. They both played the full 90 minutes. I think that's only the second time that Jack Wilshere's played 90 minutes for Bournemouth. The other one was against 0-0 against Spurs. And they both played. Jack actually got man of the best Bournemouth player for that game. But so that Middlesbrough won it 2-0 with an outstanding goal that we were talking about on the Football Hipsters at English Breakfast at the weekend. We were all quite amazed at, and actually it was on Monday, wasn't it, because it was a day late. Yes, so amazing goal, but we're not here to talk about their goals. So they both played 90 minutes. Super Dan Crowley, finally, he is now making the starting 11 for Oxford. He's played their last 2 games. Actually, if you look back at his last 3 games, he's had, does that mean a goal? Yeah, he's got 2 goals in his last 3 games. And so they drew 2-2 with Port Vale, and they lost 2-1 to Millwall. Next one, Glenn Kamara on the bench, not playing at Southend he's at? No,
Yes.
Colchester.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah,
Who was at
Colchester.
Southend last year?
I think.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
I think, yeah, actually, I think it was
think
him.
he was, wasn't he? Yeah, I
he
think
had
he was
one
there last
game as
year.
a sub. Yeah. And then next one along is Ryan Huddart at Eastleigh, not playing. Super John Terrell, future Spanish legend. He actually started against away at Barcelona with Granada. They did well to only lose 1-0, and he got booked in the 73rd, came off in the 77th. So he's played 2 games for them at the moment, so that's not bad. Hopefully he'll continue. I don't know how well he played, because by the time I realised he was played, he'd come off, so I didn't watch the game. And Julio Pegloegla Zulubulu, he's not playing again. He had a couple of 2 games where he played 2 in a row. Not been in the squad for the last 2. Absolute waste of time. Takuma Asana is playing on the wing for Stuttgart. He's played 3 on the right, 2 on the left, and 2 as a centre forward. His last game was at the weekend against Karlsruhe. They beat them 3-1, and he actually scored a goal, which is lovely. That's his first goal. I think I might have said a little while ago he had one before he didn't. He got an assist against Braunschweig. Oh, sorry, Drew, if you're listening. Szczesny, he's obviously the number 1 goalkeeper for Roma, and they are having a pretty decent season. These last 2 games, they beat Sassuolo 3-1, and they drew 0-0 away at Empoli. But I don't think he doesn't play the European games, because I think they're out, aren't they?
No, still in the Europa League.
Oh, it got knocked out of the Champions League, didn't they? When they were down to like 3 players on the pitch. Anyway, Joel Campbell, Sporting Lisbon. He played left wing and scored a goal. And they were at home to Tondela. I don't even know if that's a made-up name. Anyway, he came on for the last 15 minutes, and then his next game, they were away at Nacional, and that ended 0-0. And he came on after 65 minutes. So I don't think he started a single... Actually, he started 1 game all season, and the rest is either partly played or came off or came on. I've given you 3 examples there of only 2 possible examples. The next one is Tafari Moore at Utrecht, not playing. And then you've got Stephen O'Connor, the Irish legend. He's MVV, not even in the squad. And then Kilichi, unpronounceable. He played, did he? Oh, he came on. No, he came off. So he started against Volendam. They lost 2-1. And he came off after 77 minutes. So there you go. That was a round. How long did that take me? Oh, 2.5 minutes. Lovely. Now, the Arsenal ladies, season's almost over. Man City have won the league. The rest of the teams have got 1 game to play. For some unknown reason, we've played back-to-back games against Doncaster Bells. And we beat them 2-0 with 2 goals by Taylor. And then we beat them 5-0 at their place with 2 goals from Carter, 2 from Sanchon and 1 from Smith. And looking at the league table, we are currently 3rd, 1 game to go, and we can't be caught. So it's Man City first, Chelsea second, us 3rd, and the rest of them are all fighting. It looks like Doncaster Bells, after only just got in promotion, they've got relegated again, and they've lost every single game this season. It's quite sad. Next one I'm doing is the youths, the under-19s drew. That's what I was on about in the Champions League stuff. Whenever we play in the Champions League, the first team they play as well. We drew 1-1 with Ludogorets, with Nelson scoring. And then the next one is the under-18s. We had Norwich come visitors, Eddie Nikita. Watch that name, that bloke is absolutely brilliant. He scored, we beat them 1-0. And the next game after that, it was the under-23s, which has recently been changed. I don't know if that's so they can include more first-team players. We played Sunderland, beat them 4-0. Mavidi got a penalty, Nelson got 1, Hines got 1, and Willock scored. And then looking at the under-23s in the league, we had a horrendous run. We were right near the bottom, but now we've had a couple of we've had 2 wins and a draw in the last 5 games. We're now up to 8th, and 1 more win could put us in the top 5. So that would be nice. We've got a -4 goal difference, but Man City are top in that league, which isn't surprising because they just buy everyone else's players. And then looking at the under-18s, this is the league we're doing really well in. We've been top all season. We've had, in the last 5 games, won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. But that 1 game that we drew meant that West Ham have gone above us. They're on 22, we're on 20. And injuries, we have Santi Cazorla. He has got an ankle injury, non-specified. This is using Arsenal Injury Room. Why does it say Arsenal.com? That shouldn't say that, should it? Oh.
Injuryroom/arsenal.com, isn't it?
No, it doesn't. It says arsenal.com match with... Oh, no. See, my Firefox is being a twat. Whatever was the last page you looked at, that's where it tells you what the URL is. Here we go. Arsenal, just refresh the page. arsenalreport.com/injury room. Fantastic site. If not only for when they do all the pictures of the players that are injured. Little Santi Cazorla, you can just about see his head. The rest of them are really tall. Nacho Monreal, hamstring, he's been out for 7 days. Bellerin, ankle, non-specified, he's been out for 4 days. All of those, I think they said unknown, so they might all be back quite soon. Lucas Perez, he's been out. He's got 5 weeks left. Ankle injury. Welbeck, only 2 months to go. Meniscus tear. He's lost 179 days. Per Mertesacker, knee, non-specified. He's been out for 106 days. He's got 2 months left to go. Chupa Apcom. Shut your face. He's been out for 3 months. No, he's got 3 months left. He's got a back injury. Bloody hell. Maybe that's carrying the under 23s all season has done that to him. And I go. That's it. That's the entire lot, and it took me 5.5 minutes.
Fab dozy.
Yes.
We like to mix it up. I mean, Jace
do.
likes to not do it. I like to do it, so he kind of vary it up. I like
that's
that.
5.5 minutes of him using the C word at people. So yes, he can't let any of this time go.
Oh no, he'll have skipped through that. Don't worry about that. It'll be fine.
That'll be good.
Right, let's have a quick. Should we have a quick piratical update before we move on?
Oh, yes.
I haven't let you know.
You were top of the league recently, weren't you?
What do you mean were?
Still are.
Yes. Thank you very much. Did have a disappointment last week though. Drew 2-2, haven't been 2-0 up, and they lost. They were down to 10 men after the second half as well.
Carpenter out.
Oi, behave yourself. No, we're doing all right. We're top of the league. Played 10, won 7, drawn 1, lost 2. Goal difference of 11. We got quite a strong defence this year. We're not scoring too many, but we ain't conceding too many either. We beat Armstrong Reavers a couple of weeks ago, 5-3. We were 3-0 down inside 20 minutes, and then we won 5-3 with 2 goals in the 90th minute. And I have to confess, I did do a Mourinho down the touchline when the winning goal went in. I'm sorry about that, but it was worth it. And then we beat Tamar View 3-0 2 weeks ago, and then last week we had that 2-2 draw with Central Park Rangers. So we got Plymouth Athletic on Sunday, and they've got a goal difference of -16, and they're currently sitting second bottom. So hopefully, if we can get a result there, we'll stay top again, and all will be rosy. And yeah, there you go. That's how we're doing. So if you want to follow our trials and tribulations, we're at Barbie Pirates. And of course, thank you to our lovely listeners who've given us some money this season. I haven't forgotten the draw, by the way. It will happen.
Again,
I promise you.
It's not just you, is it? Well, we still haven't done the summer draw for all the Arsenal gear. It's all in my ottoman, scattered all over the place. There's some books from McKeeve. There's the shirt from Jason, and there's loads of wonderful stuff. But I don't want any more money. We've got enough money. Maybe we'll do a Christmas special. That's what we could do.
Oh, we could. We could combine the draws. Can we? It'd be lovely Christmas presents for people. Maybe we should do that.
That's what we'll do. Or we'll wait till next summer.
Just never do it. No, we will do it. And thank you to everyone who donated, because you keep us alive. Right, that's enough of that. Let's talk some Arsenal, shall we? Because that's what people are listening to us for. So let's go back to last Sunday. And Sunderland won Arsenal 4-2 goals apiece from Alexis and a returning Highlander, or Giroud, whichever you prefer. Love that beard. Better than yours, John. Moving on then. So let's come to Steve. Start us off. Steve, performance that was, dare I say it, not Arsenal-esque in that we had a setback, but we didn't fold. We went again and came out with the points. What did you think?
It's just one of those things, isn't it? You're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, here's a team that's not won for ages. We go 1-0 up. You think, oh, are we going to take this too easy here and sit back on our laurels and miss a load of chances and then pay for it? And I felt quite sorry for the lad Watmore, who actually, Czech sort of allegedly brought down for a penalty. I don't think there was too much contact, but I felt even more sorry for Watmore's dad, because Watmore's dad is a massive Arsenal fan. Who I follow, and he's also a man of the cloth, and he has a nightmare watching his son play for Sunderland against Arsenal. It was a game of two halves really for me. They got their shit together, they came back, and the 3 goals just put Brexit sex offender FC in their place really, and job done, move on to the next game.
It's a result that I must admit, when it went 1-1, I must confess I didn't see us going on to the ease at which we did. Jeff, what did you make of the sort of stirring comeback? Because we were in control of the game, comfortable, 1-0 up after the Alexis header, which was a lovely goal, by the way, and it all seemed to be kind of coasting along, but you had that feeling that we'd taken our foot off the gas and we were punished. But it's almost like we got angry when Sunderland equalised. The sense of injustice, having not got a penalty a minute before. Do you think this is the sort of sign of this new ingrained mental strength version of Arsenal?
Well, it is. It's definitely. I mean, we've got that attitude because it's what we've had over the last, 7 or 8 seasons, isn't it? Where we dominate much of the play, and we'd score 1 goal, go 1-0 up, and we should have been 2 or 3 clear at half time. But then it's always going to happen. It seemed like we were just rolling on and just waiting for chances to occur, and we were just going to try and stick one in. They scored, and we seemed to panic a little bit. But the best thing about it is that I think we have got the players now that they don't panic any longer. They don't, they don't get scared anymore. They're just confident in, there's still always going to be enough time to go on and get the next goal. And once we got that second goal, it was, there was only ever going to be one winner in the match, and we went on and again we should have scored more goals. We should have won by maybe 5 or 6. So it was a good performance overall because. We dominated the game from start to finish. Maybe they had a 5-minute spell when they scored, but we was just too good. They're a side they're traumatised by they can't win a game. I don't know how many it is now. Is it 10 or 11 or something like that? They haven't won a game. So it was always going to be difficult. I mean, they do all teams when Arsenal, no matter where they go, Arsenal, whoever we play, they always up their game. These teams. And they try and get at us, try and get in our faces. But we proved just to be too good for them, thankfully.
Yeah, absolutely. Thankfully, it was indeed. And Simon, from your perspective, obviously, sort of put your journalistic hat on briefly here. At the start of the season, when Alexis Sanchez was played up front, it was met with quite a few raised eyebrows from supporters and journalists alike. From the media perspective, from the things you hear, do you think it's a complete sort of switch around now where people are actively looking at Alexis and saying, yeah, he is a top class Premier League striker now in that role?
Yeah, I think like you say, it was met with a lot of scepticism at the start. I think partly because when he was first played up there, it was during August, wasn't it? And it was before the end of the transfer window, so it was seen as people as being a last sort of measure, as Wenger was doing out of necessity because he hadn't bought a striker, and that was the only reason Alexis was playing up front, because he didn't have anyone else to play there. But I think what we've seen over September and October is that in reality, Wenger had this idea that he could always play Alexis up front, and the best thing for Arsenal that it's giving is it's a different dimension to Giroud. And I think everyone will admit, Giroud's a very good striker. He's a great focal point to attack. He can hold the ball up. He's good in the air. But with Alexis, there's just so much more fluidity, and the pace he offers in behind. I think it's bringing the best out of Ozil, and the fact that he's stretching the back four. Now Ozil's got this space where the centre-backs are being pulled back by Alexis because they don't want him to get caught in behind, so they're dropping deeper. And that area we're now seeing Ozil thrive, and I think is being born out of Alexis playing there. And I think the media have come round to this idea that perhaps with Wenger, it was an idea that he could always transition Alexis into there. Now he's fully settled in English football, and he looks to thrive in that position. And I think for Arsenal, as we saw on Saturday against Sunderland, it's given them finally a sort of plan B, or Wenger won't call it a plan B because he doesn't want to obviously belittle Giroud as a backup player, but it is that they can now play Alexis, and if it's not going right, you can say, right, let's put Giroud on up top, let's get balls into the box. And finally, up front, Arsenal have got some different options as to what they had, 6-7 months ago.
Yeah, I agree with every word of that. And Steve, you make a good point, which I'll come back to in a second. Just before I do, Danny, we should give some love to the old lamppost, shouldn't we? Big Ollie G coming back. And I think it's fair to say the manager has held him back for a little while, probably because of the form of Alexis. I do wonder if he might have been back a little bit earlier had Alexis not been scoring as he has been. But he came off the bench, made an immediate impact, scoring, was it 2 touches, 2 goals, I think the Opta stats came back with. Obviously we'll come into midweek in a minute, but he scored again. It's a really good bonus to have him motivated again and ready to make an impression when he comes on or starts games. It's good to have him back, isn't it?
It is good, but I was saying on the radio show with Jason and Ellis that never recorded because we checked afterwards, and there's a heat map for Google Hangouts, and it was a massive big orangey red blob over the East Anglia where I am, so I think that's why it didn't work. It wasn't anything to do with us. But I was saying on there that I don't want to see us taking the best team that I can remember us having in years, the way they all interact with the front four and they all stop around, going from that system to going to starting Giroud and playing the way we were last last season, where unless Giroud gets the ball and he's got his shooting boots on, we're not going to do any well. Like we saw, we're very frustrated against Ludogorets, which we'll talk about later. But I want to keep that front three of Iwobi and or Ox on the left. I want to see Theo on the right, and I want to see Sanchez up front. I don't want that to change all season, other than games where it's not really important, because we saw the Ludogorets one, how it wasn't working, it wasn't ticking. Playing Sanchez wide left isn't working, and that's the only worry I have, that now that we've got this superb team where they've had one defeat, 15 games unbeaten, I think there's one defeat in 25 playing this new kind of way. Actually, some of that 25 was last season when we weren't playing this way. So this season, won 15 games without losing, and having Sanchez being so dynamic up front, to go back to playing with Giroud up front and forcing Ramsey into that team, because it's great to have those two back. I think Ramsey, Xhaka could be our central midfield pairing from now on, but I don't want to see Giroud starting games, because he's Giroud and that's what Wenger has done for ages. Sanchez has got to be the one who plays up front, and we've got to keep playing this dynamic, interchanging, fast-paced attacking football, because you can't play that with Giroud. As we found out for the last 3 seasons, he isn't good enough to play every single game against the big teams like on Sunday. I don't want to see Giroud playing, but coming on as a sub, which is your point about this game, the Sunday game, coming on as a sub when they've had what minute did he come on? It was about it doesn't tell me the
60. Hang on, I'll find out.
So they've played the best part of
68, I think it was.
There you go. Yeah.
So they've had 68 minutes of being run ragged. Sunderland aren't a good example because they're a terrible team, but they've had 68 minutes of being run ragged by all of that lot, and then Giroud comes on. He's like the heavyweight puncher coming in and just going, right, there you go, have some of that. Also, you could say that the game changed as soon as Giroud come on, because that's when it was 1-1 at that point, wasn't it? 71. Yeah, so it was 1-1 at that point. So that could slightly contradict what I'm saying. But my overall thoughts is I don't want to see Giroud starting games just for the sake of it. I want Sanchez to play every game up front, and until he does need a rest eventually. But we've got some Champions League games. We've almost definitely qualified into the Champions League group now. Got through to the next stage, and as we were saying on the radio show that no one will ever hear, that wouldn't it be just our luck that Barcelona finished second, Bayern finished second in their group, we won ours, and end up getting one of those two and finally winning our group.
So
Isn't
true.
that terrible? I know I've bled over a little bit into the Ludogorets chat, and I'm very sorry about that.
No, that's all right. We'll come on to that in a second. But Steve, you brought up a good point in the chat box there. I do want to just touch on the pressing game. Now, I must admit, I get bored sick of everyone telling me about the Gegen pressing and the Guardiola system and all this bullshit. Listen, pressing has been around for years. It's just got flashy names because of these coaches that make it sort of fashionable. But that said, having Alexis, who's obviously more mobile, and obviously we know what his engine's like, having a mobile and fit and agile midfield, fullbacks that are clearly able to get up the pitch and back again, it's definitely helping our game, isn't it? Because we are impressing when we are pressing, if you will.
Well, if you look at the front line that's normally there when no one's injured, you've got Walcott, Sanchez and Iwobi, and Ozil lurking with intent behind. So, both Walcott and Alexis have got incredible pace. They can get to the ball. They can get to a defender who's got to take a touch on the ball because he hasn't got any skill, or to a goalkeeper who gets an awkward back pass. They can get there all very quickly. Between the two of them, they can actually cut routes of get out so that that people they panic, and the sight of Alexis bearing down on a keeper on a centre half, they actually crap themselves. You can actually see them, you can see them, oh my god, shit, fuck, I thought I had more time. And they make mistakes. He did it against Chelsea, robbed Cahill, romped away and scored. And they were doing it against Sunderland, hunting in packs. And this is an old George Graham technique, basically, that they would hunt in packs to get the ball back when they lost it. Well, now Arsenal are doing it in reverse. They're hunting in packs to get the ball back and turning it into attack. And basically, Simon touched on it earlier on. When you've got an interchangeable, fluid, very skilled, fast front line like that with Ozil in behind, all of a sudden you're going to find that fullbacks don't really want to push up the pitch. They don't know where centre halves don't know where the attack's coming from. Is it going to come through Walcott? Is it going to come through Iwobi? Is Iwobi going to run at them and try and get in between them? Is Alexis going to get in behind them? They don't want to play out the back. They hoofing the ball up the pitch. So actually they're giving us back possession as well. So it's a very effective technique. And if we do this at the weekend, and we come out the box like we did against Chelsea and do this at the weekend, we'll absolutely murder Spurs. But that's another point for later.
Oh yes, we will be talking murdering Spurs. Trust me. Just quickly before we move on, Simon, do you think you saw a lot of Leicester last year, and as we know, they ended up champions. Do you think they kind of wrote the blueprint a bit with this? Obviously, we saw Vardy's pace up front last year. We saw the pressing of Kante and Drinkwater in that midfield. Do you think they almost led the way for the teams that have followed this season?
I think what Leicester certainly showed is that you need, well, I don't not say need, but it helps to have that pace in your forward line, and the ability to stretch defenders is what will make the difference. And I think perhaps for Wenger, it was a realization seeing the speed and directness with which Leicester played at, which they were, it was so direct and so quick. And that was what Wenger was, in this first half of his reign, that was synonymous with Arsenal, wasn't it? They used to say the sprint relay team are going attacking again. And that was the case, wasn't it? It was attack to defence so quickly. And I think for Wenger, it was a realization that we need to play with more pace and directness. And now we see that with Sanchez and Ozil and Walcott, the speed is back in the attack. And it's the same with Liverpool as well. If you watch them play, the speed at which they get going, and the same with City. I know City, they'll keep the ball, but when they change into attack, it's a quick pace, and bam, it's suddenly the speed changes. So I think Leicester have certainly shown that you need that in the game, and I think we'll see more of that from Arsenal and the other teams at the top of the table.
Yeah, I think you are right. And as we draw land of this game, Jeff, I'll just come back to you briefly. Do you take anything into the idea that, yes, we won, yes, we were impressive, but it was Sunderland? Do you buy into that, or are you more looking at how well we played?
No, listen, every single Premiership game is a difficult match, as all teams, even especially last season. Every single game is a difficult match, and unless you're at it, unless you're really on your game and you're not complacent, you will get turned over. There's no doubt about that. And we went there with a good attitude, and Sanchez, he has really changed it for us this year. And I always do believe that Wenger bought him as because he couldn't get Luis Suarez. I do believe he bought Alexis Sanchez to play in that role, but we just didn't have the personnel to play him at the time. And I think he's going to get better, Sanchez. I really do. I think by another 15 games, once he really gets the grips of it, because you do need time. It's a totally different position. Once he really gets the grips of it, he will be absolutely world class, and I think he'll be up there, as a top world-class centre forward, and long may it continue, because he's so dangerous. I don't like it when he comes deep, and he's been doing that a lot as well. He still does drop deep. It's good because he torments centre halves, and he torments the two that play in front of the centre halves, because no one knows who's picking him up, and it confuses everything. He just confuses the whole defending of the opposition team. And once he gets the ball down and he faces up, once he gets behind the centre midfield players, and he's facing up against one centre half or two centre halves, they're in trouble, mate, because he can do anything he wants with the ball.
I agree with you, and I got a bit of stick actually from a friend in midweek, but I stand by this. I genuinely think that the potential Alexis has in that position is up there with what Suarez became the season he left Liverpool. Because when he signed for Liverpool, he was still a little bit raw. Obviously he was clearly a very good footballer, but there was a lot of holes in his game. And that season before he left for Barcelona, he was doing everything. Up and backs, goals, heads, volleys, side foots, you name it, he was scoring every type of goal. And I think if we carry on playing Alexis as he is, and there's no injuries and everything else that goes with it, I think he could be every bit as good as Suarez was that final season. So I'll put my head on the block and stand by that one. But let's move on to our next game on the list then. This is, of course, the midweek game in Ludogorets. And seeing as Ludogorets sounds like something you'd eat, I'm going to come to Danny first on this one. Sorry, Danny, I couldn't resist.
I'm eating Marmite on toast as you speak, actually.
Well, there we go. It just proves my bloody point, doesn't it? All food for you.
It's the best thing I've eaten all day. They're going to start my breakfast.
Because you've only been up for 2 hours, you lazy shit. Anyway, you walked into that one.
I wheeled into it.
Ludogorets. What did you make of this game? Because for the neutral, it must have been hilarious and great fun. Which side of the fence do you sit on? Brilliant comeback. We obviously will come on to that goal in a minute, but do you sit on the brilliant comeback side, or do you sit on the how the hell do we concede two to this lot side?
I would precariously sit on the I don't give a fuck, we won side. But if I had to analyse it a little bit more than that, you can tell that the team is full of, I mean, they had 3 Brazilians on the bench and they had 3 Brazilians start the game. They had an Argentinian start the game. They're the dirty bunch of diving, cheating arseholes is what they are. What they did in the first place was brilliant, and luckily we managed to come back really quickly. And if we wouldn't have got that goal as soon as we did, I reckon this could have been a really hard game to come back from, because it's a known fact in football that once you score a goal, you're very vulnerable to conceding another goal right at the other end. Well, obviously, you're not going to. Actually, maybe you could concede a goal at the same end if you swapped halves and changed. Yeah, anyway, that's my brain talking to me as I'm trying to speak to you. Shut up, brain. Wonder. Yeah. It was a wonderful bit of skill by that Cafu bloke, but I think he wore himself out. But it just really, really annoyed me. The worst thing about that game was the rake down the back of Sanchez's ankle, and then the bloke went over to him, "Oh, you're right, mate, you're right." No, fuck off. That's why. Who got really angry with some? Was it Coquelin or was it Xhaka? One of them got really angry after they got booked.
Take your pick.
Yeah, and that's why they got booked. I think they were a dirty cheating team, but after you get smacked 6-0, they've changed their goalkeeper, and they're at home, and they're a decent Bulgarian team. I think they've won the title 3 or 4 or 5 times in a row. So they're not going to want to be embarrassed at home. So they were really up for the game, and they've come out and they've done well to go 2-0 up. But I don't think they were expecting to be anywhere near that so soon, and that kind of ruined their game for them. And then we played our arse off, run around. I think that Gibbs mistake was very unlike Gibbs at the moment, and he didn't sit back on that. He carried on going, and didn't let him affect it too bad. A little bit worried about the game. It's probably the worst game Mustafi's had playing for us. Xhaka, another wonderful goal. So what's that? 3 goals he's got for us now, because he's only kind of been a bit part player. Ozil, well, what can you say about Ozil? Those poor people. What if their family would have been watching? They've been. Oh, I'm trying to think of a polite way of saying this. They've been tickled live on TV by someone just trying to make his highlight reel look even better than it already was. Yeah. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that if you did it on FIFA, you'd have got the control. I know FIFA isn't real life, Jeff, but you'd have got the controller and you'd have chucked it at the cat. A horrible game, terrible game for an Arsenal fan to watch, but a fantastic comeback. Espina, well, the one thing that did really worry me was a couple of times Spina was made to look silly. At one point we were attacking down that end and they counter-attacked to counter-attack inside. They sprinted down that end and I thought, come on, there's no one covering at the left side, because as this bloke took the shot, Spina palmed it away and then he double saved it and went and got it. But if he wouldn't have palmed it a little bit away further more towards Spina's left, all 4 of our defenders were running towards the left-hand side, towards the Spina's right-hand side of the box, and then there was a bloke coming in from the bottom right-hand corner. I was thinking at the time, oh, well, don't. Oh, thank fuck he's managed to get it. Because if they would have tucked that away, then I think what was that? That would have made it 3-2 to them. I think that, because it was right near the end that Ozil, the 87th minute, Ozil got that goal. So much stuff to talk about. So many of those players haven't played together before. Jenkinson, it's good seeing him now. He started 2 games in a row and he did well. That's good, because I don't think we should be relying on Bellerin to play every single game, because people forget he's still a very young man and you don't want him to get burnt out. Gibbs, I think Gibbs has learned a little bit more of his defending ways, because I used to always moan about that Gibbs was brilliant going forward, but he wasn't too good going back. It's not one of his best games, but it didn't let him affect him that much. Sanchez was so quiet out on the left-hand side, which is what I was saying when I was talking about the Sunderland game. I don't want to see Sanchez stuck out there on the left-hand side. Sanchez, for me, should be playing every single one of those games up front, and Giroud should be the one that comes on if we're flagging or it's 1-1 or something like that, and he should be coming on as a battering ram to get us the goal, because this is a completely different style of football, as we saw when Giroud scored. That was... it was good. So, really happy with it. Really happy with the fact that we won, but I don't care about how bad the game was. When you're flying to the middle of nowhere like that, it's not going to be easy for our players to go and do that. It was -50. Saw the poor players sitting on the bench, shaking like old men with their blankets on there. It was so bloody cold. Really uncomfortable environment. We got the win. That's all I care about. Just really annoyed that PSG managed to fluke their right back to goal in the last minute. He didn't expect that to go. It looked more like a clearance than anything else.
Come on, it's a hell of a strike.
We won, and that's all that matters.
Good. Well said. Simon, this was it this time last year? I think it was this time last year. It was certainly around about this time. We went to Zagreb, and I think from memory, did you not go over there? I'm sure you were over there.
I was
making
here. I
that
did
up.
the home game.
Oh, the
Did
home game.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
when you were on the trail of that blonde, wasn't it? Not
Yeah,
if
yeah.
Mrs. if Mrs. Simon is listening, I didn't say that.
I wasn't with them, so it's fine.
Oh,
it's
that's
fine.
all right. That's fine. Different postcodes. But yeah, that game at the time, particularly when I look at the away game against Zagreb, this was a game that had a lot of parallels to that, didn't it? You know, we were 2-0 down. We looked shaky. Players were not performing on the night. It had a lot of that kind of feel about it. So were you particularly impressed with, again, I'll use that term, the mental strength shown by the players? Because I don't think we would have got the points out of this game if this is this time last season. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's a case of what Wenger was saying at the start of the season with his squad, that he feels like he finally has a group of men rather than, you know, young boys and players that need time to develop. And we saw that, I think, in the performance, because, like you say, he could have quite easily, when it was 2-0 down, panicked. And obviously that game in Zagreb, Giroud got sent off, and it was one of Arsenal's worst away performances in Europe. And as Danny was saying, you know, going away to these places, it's very difficult environment to go and play in. It's obviously very cold, the flight getting there. So these are no easy games, certainly travelling to Eastern Europe. And someone like Jenkinson and Mustafi never really played together much on that right-hand side of the defence. Obviously, Ramsey's still coming back. But I think what we showed is that Ozil is finally becoming that big game player that we want. And the composure he showed for that goal at the end, I mean, it was absolutely fantastic, because you could have seen players lash that, certainly when he chipped the keeper, which was composure enough. But to have the poise and grace just to stop and check those two defenders and then stick it in, I mean, was amazing. And I think that's what Arsenal seem to have now, is star players who can take those decisive moments and win the matches. And while the rest of the team kept their heads, which was great, you still need those players with that little bit of star quality to go and win you those games when you've perhaps played at 70%, 80%. And I think that, for me, was the most pleasing thing, that we seem now to have genuine match winners in the side again, like the days when we had Thierry Henry and Robert Pires. We've got players who can just win a game with a bit of magic, like Ozil did on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's a good thing to see. It's good to see that you've got players, like you say, can step up at those times when you need it most. Jeff, what from your side of things, do you sort of see this again as a man who's seen plenty of away games where we flattered to deceive? When we managed to rest so many players from this game and still came out with a result, and not only that, a last-minute winner, it is going to give the players a lift going into Sunday's game. Sorry, with Spurs, isn't it? I mean that mental lift of a last-minute winner, especially seeing what Spurs did last night.
Huge, absolutely huge. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, I was a little bit wary about the game. I tweeted out before the game started that I thought it was going to be a 2-2 draw. And I got lambasted by the usual folk. But I obviously that first game when we played them at our place, they looked a tidy team, and they've got some really, really good quality technical players, and they're really quick. You see them; they've got bags of pace, and their front 5 or 6, they just really break on you on quick. And like I say, they caused us troubles in the first match. You know, the 6-0, it wasn't. It was no reflection of the match, was it really? You know, although we deserved to win the match, it wasn't a 6-0 game. But the last night was I was concerned about it, because they are a decent side. I think they're quite underrated, to be honest with you. And you know, they're most probably the best footballing side that we've played all season. And coming away from there with a 3-2 win, I think it was fantastic for the lads, you know, because it could have been all wrong, couldn't it? It could have gone the other way, and everyone could have gone into that Tottenham game very, very negative, and it would have been all different. But it was a fantastic result. And Ozil, I mean, I think I would. It's, even if I see it now, it's so funny, it's hilarious, isn't it? And that is the kind of quality you get. Once, you know, I think he's really settled in now, Ozil. I think he's really settled in, and he's enjoying his football. And hopefully, you know, we'll get. He'll do that a lot more. You know, there's a lot more goals coming from him, hopefully.
Yeah. There's definitely more in him. He seems to have really hit his straps. And Danny, do you want to just share with the class what you just put in the group chat there?
Before I do that, I've just done a check, and Ludogorets have been in the Belgian, the Bulgarian league. They've been in there for 5 seasons, and every season they've won the title. But yeah, before Steve has kittens, someone predicted a 3-2 win, didn't they? I'm not going to say who it was, but he's...
No, please say who that was.
You.
Thank you very much. So who's top of that predictions lead, Danny?
You.
Yes.
Go to Steve, for fuck's sake.
Steve, yes, I do want to come to you because Steve, I hate to be the sort of pass on to you to be the doommonger, but there were some performances, Steve, that you looked at, you had concerns over. Do tell us.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I see that game in 2 ways. There were some negative things there, and secondly, it was the ultimate piss boiler. Imagine all those Spurs fans sat there at 2-0 thinking, oh yeah, Arsenal going to lose here. Their fingers poised over the send button on Twitter. And then suddenly, come back to 2-2, and then the goal to really, put them all into stroke territory at the end. Quite unbelievable. Come on to the goal in a minute. But I think there was a lot of people going on and on about Gibbs being unprofessional. He's not moaning. He comes in and does a job when he's needed. Well, he's come in and done a job when he's needed against Sunderland. And we had a few ropey moments there, but he got even more ropey against Ludogorets. He giving the ball away, getting caught out of position. His frailty on his defensive side was exposed again, and again he got injured in that game again. He's made of glass, and I seriously think that one of the first priorities we're going to have in the transfer window is start looking at left back, because Nacho's 31. Gibbs isn't a starter for 45, 50 games a season, that's for certain. I don't think he can keep fit for more than 20. And I seriously wonder whether really he's got the gumption to play there at the highest level against the top opposition. Secondly, I know Ramsey was coming back from injury, and I know that he was supposed to be playing on the right in front of Jenkinson, but he went straight back to being ill-disciplined again, fucking sliding into the middle, being on the left, actually being everywhere apart from where he was fucking supposed to be. Yes, okay, he managed to gloss that over by assisting Giroud for a goal. But the fact is, we can't have that sort of ill discipline when you've got people like, Jenkins, who's just come back in the Arsenal side, Jenkinson positively was getting forward. Some of those crosses he was putting in the box were absolutely world class. Whipped in, swinging out, swinging in. The only problem was there was no one in there to get them. Because he actually got to the box before the forwards did, or the forwards didn't get it. He was missing the people in the box. They weren't in the right places, which was a shame for him. He did have a few rocky moments in the second half. People saying, oh God, he's been found out. Well, no, he wasn't, because if you actually go back to him, where was Ramsey when this was happening? Yeah, over the other side of the pitch somewhere, pissing around where he shouldn't have been. And I think this is a big dilemma for Arsenal now, because we're going to come on in a minute to the derby. And we're going to be playing a side who've got 2 very fast full backs. You just can't afford to have people on the left and right in midfield who are not going to be disciplined off the ball and sit in front of their men and defend their defender. And that's, if you look at the Chelsea game, look how compact we were. Look how the shape we kept off the ball, got us the ball back and helped us spring attacks. Well, you can't do that if one of the pieces of the jigsaw is, wandering around, rummaging around in Ozil territory on the left or the right where he shouldn't be. So that's the negative side of it. I want to get onto that goal of Ozil. But I have to give Giroud credit, because I think his goals was really well finished and really well timed. His runs and everything he did, he was really excellent. But the goal of Ozil, what's so amazing about that goal? It's like watching something at The Matrix, the film. The ball comes over his head. His first touch to take that ball, his foot's off the floor when he takes the ball. The ball then bounces off of his foot and bounces up. and he actually, when he kicks his foot forward to chip the keeper, he deliberately scrapes his studs across the turf like he's like using a sandwich. He clips it over the top of the keeper's head, and then when the ball, as it comes down, even as it hardly makes contact with the grass, his left foot's flicked that to the left to take one defender out. He's actually then pulled his foot back to dummy a shot, takes the other defender out, and then he flicks it wide again and goes round and scores. And it's an amazing piece of skill, because if you look at his eyes, you look at his body, he means every fucking second of it. And I saw a tweet where there was Mertesacker running after him, and in the previous instance saying to him, for fuck's sake, Ozil, show some respect. Those 3 men you left for dead there, they've got families. And and that's exactly what it is. I mean, he was like a fucking grave robber in this move. He's like Burke and Hare, leaving defenders' corpses left and right and centre because he wanted to. And the goalie reminded me of that of Danielson being run past by the referee. It was just like all in slow motion. There's a GIF, you sees it from the back of the goal. If you watch it, it's like the guy out the Matrix leaning back, actually evading live rounds being fired at him. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter it's against Ludogorets, because he knows he can do it, and he will do it against the top side. There's no doubt about it. I remember Dickhead saying when Dennis Bergkamp did that goal against Newcastle, oh, it's only Newcastle. Yeah, well, it's only Newcastle, but it won the goal of the year. And I think that's a candidate for goal of the year. But job done, and at the end of the day, it was some bad performances. We went 2-0 down, very shabby, crap defending. The defending for the second goal was really bad. The first goal should never have been a goal because it was never a free kick. Ref gave a free kick for Gibbs getting the ball kicked in his face. An idiot. But move on. Move on. The fact is, look at the difference between us winning that game and look at the difference between the Vermin last night, booed off by their own 80,000 of their own fans at Wembley. Their manager actually coming out and cunting the team off. I'm not going to blame Wembley. I'm not going to blame anything. We weren't good enough. No. And their fans tweeting, "We're going to get tonked on Sunday," and they're so fucking right.
Blissful, that, isn't it? Absolutely love. Did love hearing that as they all came trotting off at the end. I want to give you all just a very brief bit of time to talk about that goal, because frankly it was good enough for us all to have a say on it. So Jeff, let's start with you. You've been to many games, you've seen many goals, and what many better than that goal from Mesut, was there?
Well, he used to when he first come to Arsenal, everyone said, "Oh, he looks a bit lazy, he looks casual, he's languid." But that just shows you it wasn't languid. It's just his calmness. He had three players around him plus a goalkeeper, and the calmness of the man when he's pulled the ball down, he's flicked it over the goalkeeper. He's now got 2 defenders come running at him 100 miles an hour, thinking he's going to clean him out, and he's just. The calmness is just unbelievable when he just slides it to the side, and then feints to shoot, and the other way, I think he's still sliding now, right? And then he just passes the ball into the net. It's just brilliant the way he does it. And when he used to get the stick, because they say, "Wow, he's not really interested. He'd go missing in games and stuff like." That's just the way he is, and that just sums up why he always he keeps everything calm. He'll make time for himself, and he won't rush things, and he does things right. And you see, it was just an absolute quality goal, wasn't it?
Really, really was. And Simon, it reminded me of 2 players. One, obviously, this podcast is named after. I'll get Danny's thoughts on that in a second. But the other player it reminded me of was a Matt Le Tissier type of touch. I think back to those goals against Blackburn from distance, and I think the other one was against Newcastle, where he lobbed over a couple of players' heads and then put it in the far corner. It was just a thing of beauty from start to finish, wasn't it? Like Jeff said, just the composure to do that at a crucial moment of the game, no less.
Oh, I mean, it was fantastic, and it reminded me of that Messi goal against Almunia. I think it was 3 years ago at the Nou Camp, and Almunia sort of scrambling trying to get that, and it reminded me of that. And like you said, it's the timing of it for me that makes it a better goal, because it's not like it's 5-0 up and he's trying something for fun to make it 6-0. It's not like it's in the first 5 or 10 minutes when he's fresh. This is the 90th minute. He's been running for the whole game. You know, he's barely been subbed this season. The pressure's on. It's 2-2. It's away from home. And just to have that composure. I mean, I was watching it on telly and was just sort of screaming, sort of shoot, shoot. And Wenger said afterwards that, you know, he was saying as well, I would liked him shoot earlier, but, you know, he's in complete control of the ball there. As Steve says, everything he does from just taking a little bit of turf before the ball just to get a bit of backspin on it, to know where the two defenders are, to check, to finish. It's a brilliant, brilliant goal. And I think we may be finally seeing what Wenger has said since the start of last season, that he wants more goals from Ozil because he has got that ability and technique that he should score plenty of goals. And if he keeps playing like that and having the fitness as well and the drive, and people say he's lazy, but this is, you know, the 90th minute, he's the one, when El Nene gets the ball, he's saying, no, stick it over the top, I'll go in behind. So it was a fantastic goal and a way to win it. And as we've been saying, the momentum it going into Sunday is absolutely huge. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Ozil will be trying to take that game by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah,
you know, if I may add, you know, he does frustrate because he gets into some fantastic positions, Ozil, when you're watching Arsenal, and you think, fuck it, just bang it, mate, strike it, and most of the time he doesn't, and he try and pass it across the box to somebody else, which is really, really unselfish. And most of the time it doesn't come off, but when it does come off like that, it's just unbelievable. And kudos as well. I think Steve alluded to it. Giroud, he ran about 20, 30 yards to win that ball back. He passed it back to El Neni, and El Neni, it was a fantastic ball, by the way. You know, and he just pinged it into space, and you know, a great run from Ozil, and he just went clear. So kudos to all.
I think with Ozil as well, he said before that he does not like scoring, but he prefers setting up goals and assisting goals. You know, I think his mindset is always to try and look for that pass, that killer pass, and to set someone up. So if he's perhaps changed that now in the summer, and Wenger's finally got it into him saying, no, look, you can get the goals here, then we might see a different player this season.
And and before I finish with Danny, I want to just give a word for Mohamed El Nene, because I think he's a player that he's really impressed me. When the small amounts he's played this season and the back end when we signed him last season,
£5 million as well, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, do you know what? He reminds me so much of Edu. He's that type of player, just that sort of, you know, languid style. He's a big unit. When you see him in the flesh as well, and very composed. He's a very Wenger type of midfielder, and I think if he can do half the job that Edu did before he left, we've got ourselves a bargain there. But Danny, we'll wrap up this game with you then, and again talking about this goal. It was very Bergkamp, wasn't it? I mean, you love the Dutch maestro, hence why you named this podcast after him. But I think even he would have been proud of that strike, wouldn't he?
It was an absolute thing of beauty, but also one of the most important things about that was that we've come back from 2-0 down. We're away from home. We're all freezing. They're all freezing. We weren't. I was sitting by the heater. They're all freezing their asses off, and Ozil's looking around and going, "Well, it's 2-2. We need the win." He's gone, "Okay, right." He's
It wasn't cold out there, you old tart.
I'm sitting here and it's 22.3 degrees in here, and I'm cold.
It was 2 degrees there.
You'd have been out there in your wife front, strutting up and down.
I'd have been doing a Vic Akers, mate. Vic Akers was out there in his wife fronts.
Little Vic of the Akers.
Oh, lovely. And so he's looked around and gone, right, we need the points here. We've got to do this. And he's gone, right, out of the way, everybody. And then he clicked it into slow-mo mode. And then, just like Steve saw, someone said a scene from The Matrix, he's gone, right, have some of this. And I reckon they could have had 11 players there, and he'd have taken it around all 11 players in and out of the crowd. It's like Henry with that goal against Spurs, where he took it against every player on the team, in and out of the crowd, down the Seven Sisters Road, back in again, and they still couldn't stop him and scored the wonderful goal. That thing is just a thing of beauty, and I think he could do that whenever he wanted to. But like, was it Jeff just saying that he'd rather set people up to do the goals rather than claim the glory himself? If that's the sort of stuff that he can do when it needs to be done, so. One of my favourite ever Arsenal goals in one of my favourite ever Arsenal kits that isn't a red kit, and what's looking to be maybe one of my favourite seasons, because we are just looking fantastic this season. And to come from 2-0 down, brilliant. The whole thing,
Amen.
Brilliant.
Amen to that. And if anyone knows where I can get hold of a pair of those chain shorts for that kit, please let me know. They are lovely. I do like that kit. Well, they were fluorescent, but normally I think the actual kit has got navy shorts, but we wore fluorescent shorts for some reason, and I love them. They're really nice. That kit's really, really nice. I know it's a bit
garish
new wave,
kits, don't you?
I do. I love my neon. Yeah, but it's a good kit. I know. Anyway, right, we'll leave Ludogorets behind there. Just a one-word answer from you all. First or second in the group, Danny? Do you think we'll finish this?
I'll finish. Do we think?
Yep.
I think we're
One
going to win
word.
it because we've both got to play Basel, or we've got to play Basel, and is it the last game against PSG at our place?
No, PSG next and Basel to finish.
Is it? Oh,
Yep.
right, I was hoping for a big of a... Oh, not one word, is it? Win first.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Got there in the end.
Yep.
Simon?
Yeah, they'll win the group. Arsenal will.
Good. Jeff?
Yeah, we'll beat PSG.
Superb. Steve, full house?
Yeah, we'll top the group.
You thought about trolling me for a minute then, didn't you? You thought about going,
Yeah.
nah. Dear. And meanwhile, Spurs will be back to Thursday night. So happy days.
Spurs.
Right. Let's, Thursday indeed. Let's move on
Did
to...
you say you think we'll finish?
I think we'll win the group. Yeah, I think we'll. PSG are continuing to be terrible. By the way, the people who tweeted me and said, "Oh, Cavani with another good performance last week. He got the winner against
Do you
Lille."
think they do it on purpose?
Well, they seem to have glossed over the 5 chances he missed previously before scoring the winner. So thanks to all those people. Anyway, no, I think we'll beat PSG at home, and I actually think we'll beat Basel away as well. So yeah, I think we'll be all right.
All their
And we'll
best players are gone.
We'll probably get, like you said earlier, Real Madrid or Bayern Munich in the next round. But hey, you've got to beat them all at some point. Right, let's leave those games behind then. As good as they were and as much as we enjoyed them, we've got a rather big game coming up this weekend in the face or shape of a North London derby. Sunday, 12 p.m. UK time, kickoff sees that lot down the road visit the Emirates. So hopefully our bathroom is on tight lockdown after what they did to it previously. I just want to, before we go into sort of a bit of a discussion, I just want to get some thoughts from you all about where you sort of see this game being won or lost, and what kind of mood you're coming into it, in a confident mood or not. Steve, you're quite a big fan of Spurs. Let's start with you.
This is a game where, really, to be honest, form doesn't count for much. I mean, they were crap last night, and they've got a lot of players missing. I guarantee you that for the magic of their drugging department, I'm joking, but I can guarantee a lot of those fuckers will be fit and ready for the weekend. I think that he'll be looking to get a reaction out of his team on Sunday. I think, however, that reaction is going to be one that he might not want. I think Spurs have got a big problem coming into this game, and that problem is Mark Clattenburg is the ref. I think Mark Clattenburg still got a lot of thoughts burned in his mind about what those fuckers got up to when they played Chelsea at the end of the last season, that they really should have had points deducted for. Assaulting people off the ball and, just general appalling unprofessional behaviour, failing to control their players. I think that's a big problem for Spurs. I think the temperament of the likes of Dele Alli is a big problem for Spurs, and Kyle Walker and Danny Rose as well. Too easy and too wanting to get involved in stupidity. I think it's very telling that, today we saw Arsene Wenger saying he was worried a bit about Xhaka's impulsive behaviour. I'm not worried about it as long as he brings him on in the last 10 minutes to end Dele Alli's life and get sent off for 4 games when we're 5-0 up. But I think this game is going to define Tottenham's season a lot more than ours. I think if we start like we started against Chelsea, we outpress them, outrun them, and bully them and harry them off the ball, especially bearing in mind that Alderweireld won't be playing at the back, and he's easily their best defender. You pin back Walker, you pin back Rose, they've got nothing. If you cut Eriksen out the game, that's Spurs' game plan over. They haven't got a plan B. They can't. There's no way they can start the window licker from the start because he's not got any match fitness. He's very likely to pull his hamstring and be out for another 6 or 7 weeks. So they can't risk that. So it is on Spurs, but it's up to Arsenal to put a game plan out there and a team out there that can menace the fuck out of them. And what I would like to see is, if we do get 2 or 3 clear, is that we don't take our foot off the gas. We go for murder. We go out to make a statement to the rest of the league, and we go out to put the vermin back in their place where they should be. And really go for it. Not 5-2, 5-0, but it's going to be a good game. It'll be a hard fixture. I think we've got the right referee for it. I just hope that he's wise to the fact that Ali's a diving little shit, and that Spurs have been getting away with way too much fouling from other referees this season. But I think what they did in the Chelsea game, I think Clattenburg's got a long memory about what went on there, and I think he's immensely pissed off as well that he was obviously under pressure to keep 11 aside on the pitch, so they couldn't be accused of doing anything against Tottenham. It went against him, and afterwards, really, the FA let Clattenburg down. So yeah, it'll be an interesting confrontation. I just don't see how Spurs are going to have a strong enough side to compete with us with what looks to be, apart from Cazorla out, a fully fit side and a full bench as well.
Yeah, I hope everything you've just said comes to pass there, and completely agree on some very valid points there. Jeff, put some flesh on the bones from your perspective. I presume, are you going to this one?
Yes, I'll definitely, mate. Yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff. Assumed as much. You've seen the good and the bad of North London derbies up and down the years. Are you going into this one in pretty confident mood?
I'm never confident. Honestly, I'm never ever confident. I'm always shitting myself against Tottenham. I don't know why. You can't help how you feel, and that's just how it is. I'm always wary.
It's because they're cunts, Jeff. That's why.
Yeah, even in the glory years, when we really knew we was going to beat them before. Even before the start of the game, I'd be crapping myself. I mean, we got a fantastic home record against Tottenham. I think they beat us once since 1993 or something like that. So we should really have confidence. But it's Tottenham, right? They're playing at our stadium. They're always going to be up for it. It's just a tough game, and I'm always worried about it, mate, because anything can happen. I'm worried about it's going to be feisty. We'll get a player sent off like we did last year at Tottenham, and anything can happen. But if we play our natural best and Tottenham play their natural best, I think we'll beat them. I don't think it'll be a problem, but they have got some good players, and I hate to say it, but they are a good side. They're a good footballing team. They work very hard. That press game, I don't know how they're going to shape up, because I don't think they'll be able to get that press. If we can get past that first press, we'll open them up. And I think Pochettino, he'll be wary of that. So I don't know how he's going to play it. It'll be really interesting to see how he works it out. Because if he plays that high press and we break on them, and we've got all them fast players up front with Ozil to just pick players out. We could really ruin them. So hopefully I'll have no nails left again by the end of the game. But hopefully I think we should turn them over.
Yeah, here's hoping. And Danny, we got a mutual friend, Ross, who we do another podcast with, and he was, as a Southampton fan, he was saying to us about Pochettino's sides when he was Saints manager, and he said that obviously his quote, he said to us, you need two hearts to play for Pochettino because he demands that much of his players. But he also said that when his players do get tired and when his squads do feel the burn, they do often go off the boil, and heavily. Do you think that could come into our game plan Sunday? Do you think, like Jeff said there, the pace that we can throw at them could be a real problem to them?
Yeah, definitely. They've Harry Kane hasn't been playing for them for quite a while. He's been out injured, and you thought maybe he'd have made a comeback as a substitute in the last game. The last three league games is 1-1, 0-0, 1-1. They are unbeaten, but they've only scored 14 goals in 10 games, which is not very good, and they've conceded 5. I'm not overly worried. I mean, the form book always goes out the window, as they like to say on the radio shows. Not our one, just in general. But they're definitely going to be up for it. And then, like Steve was saying, the dirty, cheating bastards. So many of them. And I just put in our chat box the number of the last 4 games that Clattenburg has refed, and he's no stranger to giving away yellow cards. But he was also referee that time when we played Spurs. We were away at Chelsea, and then we got who was it that got sent off? Because Costa was kicking him all game. I can never remember.
Gabriel, wasn't it?
Oh yes. They're a team in a bit of crisis at the moment. So when a crisis as in goal scoring, because last season they were scoring loads of goals and they were playing really attractive football. Now I get the feeling they're not. They're kind of they've got that Janssen bloke who they got from was it PSV or was it Ajax? I know he got it from one of those two. The big, or it might even be Feyenoord. Sorry, Drew.
RZ
Alkmaar.
Oh, was it? Oh, I took it for granted it's one of the other ones. And he's only scored, I think, the only goals he scored have been penalties. The player they had replacing Kane for most of the season that he's been out has been the South Korean, is it Song?
Dog eater.
Yeah, Steve has said that. Because if James listens to this, James not going to be very happy because he's from there. What the point I was making was, they haven't got Harry Kane, and when they don't have Harry Kane, they don't play attractive goal-scoring football, and they're struggling because their two strikers they got aren't scoring the goals. Their midfield.
Can I just stop you there and say, can you never use the words attractive and Harry Kane in the same sentence ever again?
Yes, well, they were oxymoron. They should never.
Is Alderweireld? Is he playing? Is he?
No,
he's
out.
Now?
No, he'll be
definitely out.
He's not 100%, but it'd be very, very surprising if he plays.
Yeah, I should have a look at the thing and see who else is. Oh no, I've gone and moved. I don't know in my injury list.
They are struggling.
Dembele twisted his ankle. I don't know.
Dembele's a late fitness test, isn't he?
What about
I think that would be the key if the midfield. I think
Lolamela is also is apparently
he did his hip Tuesday.
What? Where was that? Selling his arse outside of Court Cemetery.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Danny, just while you're looking that up, I just want to ask Simon because have you got it there? Have you?
Yeah, if the page wants to load that is. Here we go. Injuries for they've got to change their bloody site now, haven't they? Hull, Everton, Sunderland, Man United. Oh, for fuck's sake, they haven't got that many then, have they? Because they're going further and further down the page.
Who's this injuries for Spurs?
Yeah, they got Dembele.
It's only Lamela, Alderweireld, and Dembele, and Kane will
it's just those four.
They're key injuries, though, aren't they? You know what I mean? They're really key players.
I think Dembele's a huge one. I think.
And Sissoko's banned, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's probably a blessing in disguise.
That's going to say a bonus.
That's done them a favour.
They're seriously they're struggling up top, aren't they? They can't score goals. You know what I mean? That's where the problem lies. You know, and if you can keep the what do you call the kid in the middle of the park?
Ericsson.
If you can keep him quiet, then I think you've got a chance.
Don't let him have any free kicks on the edge of the box, for fuck's sake.
True.
Yeah. He's good at that.
Someone needs to have a word with Mr. Cech to ignore Payton's instructions about this idea that you put the wall one side of the goal and then you go and stand by the other post. Oh, surprise, surprise! The bloke's put it in the top left-hand corner and you didn't get there.
Or you don't give away free kicks in that area in the first place.
Yeah, well, there is that as well. But the problem is that there is a massive problem with that playing Spurs because Dele Alli's a diving little twat. He did it last night. He actually dived and there was actually no content. And the ref just sort of looked at him as if to say, what, do you think I'm stupid? But you know damn well in the Premiership, they've been getting away with that game after game.
And yet the commentators on BT were all like, oh, there's definite contact. I'm like, are you looking at the same replay I'm looking at?
Was it Michael Owen as usual?
Oh, it probably was actually, yeah.
One other question. Is Xhaka served his ban now, or has he got one more to go?
Yeah.
No, he served his ban.
Wenger was saying today that he's concerned about playing him in this sort of game with his level of discipline. He's been sent off 8 times since April 2014 for club and country.
Splendid business.
Sharpen
his studs up and bring him on in the 80th minute.
I don't think he'll start.
And he did exactly the same thing again, didn't he? That challenge last night.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Coquelin and El Nene, I think.
Do you know what it is last night? Wasn't it the bloke that rates Sanchez? And Xhaka, I knew he was going to do it because I thought, oh, fuck me, that's a naughty tackle on Sanchez, the rate right down the back of his Achilles tendon. And I thought, Xhaka will have this bastard a minute. Bosh, he straight away went over there and got him. And this is what we've been missing. Yeah, okay, he got booked for it last night, but I mean that red card, the FA demoted the ref and said it shouldn't have been a red card. They didn't chalk it off. Arsenal didn't ask for it to be chalked off, but I don't think Clattenburg will send a player off in the derby for a tackle like that. He might send you off for being out of control, studs flying in, or a tackle off the ball, which rather puts Mr. Dyer under suspicion straight away.
Yeah.
Diarrhea, as I heard him described last night.
He bloody was, by the way, as well. Simon, I wanted to finish with you actually because obviously you had the benefit of having a chat or sitting in the chat, sorry, I should say, with Arsene Wenger and his press conference today. Wasn't it this morning that you were in there?
It was this morning, yeah.
How was the boss? Jovial, upbeat? Was he laid back? Was there any sign of tension? How did you sort of see him today?
He's been very happy this season. I think relaxed, and he was obviously asked about Spurs and the form and Wembley, and he was very keen to not bite on any sort of about Spurs being in bad form, troubles playing at Wembley, because I think Wenger obviously been in this game long enough to know there's no need for him to say anything about how bad Spurs are playing, how they can't play at Wembley, because all that's going to do is stoke the fire of the Tottenham players, and Pochettino can say, look what Wenger's being saying about you. So he was very diplomatic in that way. And on the team selection, it was a lot of fitness tests that need to be done today and tomorrow, obviously, with Walcott. Cazorla was hoping to train for the first time today. Walcott sounds like he's having a fitness test today and tomorrow. Monreal having fitness tests. Bellerin should be fine, which is good. And I think that midfield will be the key, because both teams will probably be without their best deep line playmakers. Arsenal could be without Cazorla. Spurs could be without Dembele. And the decision for Wenger will be, does he go with Xhaka, who he said today, I'm concerned about playing someone like that with the discipline of the derby. Does he go instead with El Nene and Coquelin? I think he'll go with those two, just because if it all stays 11 men on the pitch, Arsenal stay composed, play their usual game, don't lose their heads. They're a better team than Tottenham and they can beat them. What Arsenal don't want to do is go in, get pumped up, let the emotion get to them, get sent off, go 10 men down and let them in the game. Because I think that's when Arsenal can lose it in this game. I think if they keep their heads, which they've done a lot this season, we saw it in Ludogorets, we saw it against Sunderland, if they show the maturity they've shown all season, I think Arsenal will be fine. And it's just about trying not to play the occasion, play the matches that should be played, and they should be all right. Obviously, that's easier said than done, but I think that's why Wenger might decide to go with El Nene and Coquelin, two solid players, both neat and tidy, and rather than playing someone like Xhaka, who will like a tackle and like a bit of derby spice, might be a bit wiser just to maybe save him off the bench for later on.
Yeah, some excellent points. Interesting, just looking at the official website today, they've got pictures, obviously, the players training. No sign of Santi Cazorla in any of the pictures.
He might not have made it then.
Yeah,
Wenger said he was hoping, because Wenger does his press conference, he does it at 9 o'clock before training.
Yeah.
And he said he was hoping for him to train, but
unless, of course, he was away from the main group.
He might have done away from it, but Bellerin he said Bellerin could have played against Ludogorets, but it was more a case of he could rest him. And that's the new policy with injuries, really, isn't it? If we can give him a bit longer, let's give him a bit longer, like they've done with Ramsey and Giroud. So yeah, I think that made sense. But
yeah, it'd be interesting. I just on Steve's point as well. I have this interesting. Well, I have this theory that quite a lot of Spurs' apparently injured players will make miraculous recoveries by Sunday. I just have this feeling that
I think Kane will be desperate. I think Kane will start out of him.
Me too.
I think Kane will start. I don't think he should, and I don't think he'll play well. But I just can't see him not demanding want to play.
He's apparently going to, or the rumour is he's going to take painkilling injections to play. That's the rumour.
The pain for Pochettino is, and Pochettino said this the other day, if he lets Kane start and play 90 minutes, England will then go, well, he's played 90 minutes for you, we're going to call him up and he'll play.
Which would be quite funny.
We'll play him against Scotland and we'll play him against Spain. So that is catch-22. Whereas if he doesn't play, like Alderweireld probably won't play, they'll say, well, to Belgium, no, he shouldn't go on international duty.
Drive him into the floor
and
with
the good
a
thing
hammer.
on that was Wenger was saying today that Germany look like they're not going to call up Ozil and let him have a 2-week break. Which is
it's good news, that, isn't it? Yeah.
He wasn't even in the 18, was he? That was on the bench in that on last night. Kane, was he? I don't think it was. That's what I mean. I doubt he's going to play against the Arsenal at our Gaffer. It'd be madness, wouldn't it? Surely, really.
To be honest, I'd rather he played.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, me
true.
too. Yeah, me too. It'll be interesting to see what lineup. But as I agree with all of you, I think if we play to our strengths and we don't play the fixture, and what I mean by that is we don't play to the all the stuff that's going to be going on around it, we win the game. I do have a concern about the early kickoff on Sunday. I know it's just the same; it's another game, but I don't know. I just have this sort of thing about those early kickoffs.
But all derbies are early kickoffs because they've got to be, because the police insist. There's only one.
That's true.
In recent years, it's been at about 5 o'clock, and there was murders, and the police have refused to have it again at that time. So,
yes, I think what I'm more pissed off about, Steve, is I've got to manage the game with the Pirates in the morning. I won't get back till 20 minutes into the first half, which is going to kill me. So I'm going to be very unprofessional and stick my radio in. Oh, poor thing.
Wenger's response to that was that you just have to eat a little bit earlier, but I agree with you. I think it's a little more than that, than just eating breakfast slightly earlier. But
yeah. Still, at least we can get it out of the way and hopefully then enjoy the evening after smashing them to bits. But Danny, earlier on today, we put a tweet across to our listeners to ask them for their memories of journeys to the derby, to watch the game live, to see it on TV. I'm hoping we've had a few tweets from people from here or abroad that have got some memories or thoughts on this fixture. So have you got a few that you can pick out for us?
Yeah, we certainly have. Some are statements, some are facts, some are made up, and some is just taking the piss out of them. So I'll start with Nicky Wilson, who's just tweeted us. He says, "Is it wrong that I hate Liverpool and Chelsea more than Spurs? I live in Norwich and don't know any Spurs fans." What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I personally can't understand it, but I definitely get it from our overseas fans, because obviously they've not necessarily grown up with some of the rivalries, particularly younger fans that we have. But for me, and I'm pretty sure Jeff and Steve, in fact I think everyone will agree, for me it's always Spurs. They are always the biggest. Everything about them, I hate everything about them, and I even when I do my other podcast, I find it incredibly hard to be neutral about them. I hate them. I absolutely detest them, and I don't hate much. So, but it's everybody's got the right to their opinion, so that doesn't make him wrong.
I hate Chelsea more than I do Spurs now. Honestly, I really do.
Yourself.
No, I do. I've been getting a lot of stick for it in the past as well.
But that's because you lived there, Jeff. That's why.
Not only that.
When I lived there as well.
Yeah, not only that, but just the way they've done it, Chelsea as well. It's just, and where Tottenham have been shit for 25 years anyway, so they haven't really touched us. I've not been bothered about them. You know what I mean? But there's always that hatred there. Don't worry about that.
What do you reckon, Simon? He did say Man United as well. I just didn't read it properly. He hates all three of them.
Yeah, I think it depends on your sort of fan base. Like a lot of my friends have the hatred for Chelsea just because of them coming in straight after the Invincibles and Mourinho taking over and knocking Wenger off his perch. But I think Wenger says it himself, and it's always you test yourself against your rivals. And just because I know and everyone knows that if we had finished behind them last season or anything like that, you would have had to have just signed out of Twitter and just never logged on again, because the abuse and the joy would have been crazy. So it's just, although even though Wenger's for 20 years has finished above them, that 1 year, if it ever happened, oh my God, it wouldn't be worth going on social media.
Ever.
Yeah, good thing for me is that Sean's granddad croaked it the other week, and he's a dirty Spurs fan, and we never really got on. So that's one less person who can give me grief if they. Yeah, well, never mind these things.
I think it's only fair Danny should bring it up.
Yeah, I suppose.
Anyway, Mark Bonner says, this is more of a statement, "There's no better feeling than winning the league at Spurs, not once, but twice," which I think is more times than they've won it there. It's like doing a cheeky poo on someone's lawn you really hate and they can't do a damn thing about it.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a point. That is a point, but I mean, I think we played them late, don't we, in the North London derby, and wouldn't it be amazing if we could win the league at their gaff the last time they play at their home, the last North London derby? Can you imagine?
How good would that be?
It'll be
all on the pitch and dig it up. Take it away and then give it and send it to them for Christmas.
And it's so Arsenal. I think they're all shitting themselves. I follow a few Tottenham people on Twitter, and one of them tweeted it, I think, 2 or 3 days ago. The same thing what I just said. So they're obviously concerned about it. It's a typical thing that Arsenal would do, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that game is penciled in for the 29th of April. It's 3 o'clock on a Saturday, which it won't be. But once we've played them, we've got 3 games left to go in the season. Away at home at Man United, away at Stoke, and home to Everton. So
yeah, we won't win it by 3 games before. I don't think.
Not this season. They're going the way Man United and Man City are going. We could win it by Christmas. Right. Next one. It's from Gooners in USA, who were very kind to invite me on their pod midnight on Saturday. We had a right old chuckle. Go and have a look at my Twitter and give that podcast a listen. They're actually funny and they're American. Hey, who'd have thought? Thought only our Shredder was like that. An accurate analogy. Arsenal is to Tottenham as Undertaker is to the Brooklyn Brawler. Your thoughts, kind sir, Chris?
I saw this tweet. It's quality. Yeah, I love it. A little wrestling reference there. I can't beat that really. I suppose. They're like the jobber in the women's division, whereas we are the heavyweight in the men's division. So and that's not to be derogatory towards our lovely ladies, of course. No. But no, I love the analogy, and I'll have to speak to these chaps. They sound right up my street.
I think they said they wanted you on and Mr. Davis on.
Oh,
Well, they'd love Jeff, but
Poor bastards.
they'd love all of us at some point. But they usually the two of them. They only have guests every now and then. Anyway, they follow that up with, "I don't want to see Giroud until the 60th minute. I love the man, but he's so much better as an impact sub. Start Alexis up top." Do you agree with that, Steve?
Yeah, well, I think you've got to balance it out. I mean, yes, normally, yes, but you can't. You know, Alexis is an obsessive individual. I mean, there's a picture of him on Twitter the other day. I was like, about 10 players standing there, sort of like having a rest. And you look to the right, and there's Alexis in the middle of push-ups. and someone's written on the tweet, "Right, thanks for that, Alexis. Go over there and have a cool down. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Wenger. I'm going to do 1,000 press-ups while I think about my dogs. Wenger, for fuck's sake, Alexis." You know, and this is the problem. He needs a rest, and you can't play him up front all the time. I don't want to see him playing in the League Cup, where some fucking part-time fireman's going to fucking end his career. I don't want to see him playing in some shit game on some car park in the fucking FA Cup third round either. No, that's where Giroud should be playing. You know, whether he likes it or not, that's what second-string strikers do. You know, and you know, when Welbeck's on his way back, that's where Welbeck should be getting his minutes in, not Alexis. So yeah, there has to be a balance there. But I the sentiments I agree with.
And another wrestling analogy, that's the bottom live because Stone Cold Steve says so.
Love it.
Right. I won't ask everybody to answer every question so we can get through more of them because we've been going an hour and 20 minutes at the moment. From Davey Boyd, when Thomas Rosicky took the ball off of Danny Rose on the halfway line, ... magic. I think we all agree with that. Mark Feinberg, is Adebayo available on a free for them, not us? My favourite North London derby is going to be happening on Sunday. Oh, very confident Mike there. Lovely to see. Marble Halls TV, who I don't think they are actually TV. So maybe it was they thought they were going to, now they're not. But yeah, they always interact with us a lot. He says, "I was an over-eager kid who got in the Spurs end at White Hart Lane, cheered on a Bergkamp goal, was told he was shit." Because I'm reading this, 2 tweets put together. Was told he was shit and he wouldn't improve. Those lily whites must have retched apparently a plenty over the next decade that he was, in quotes, shitty for us. Very true. I think his family used to go there, didn't they? To watch games. His dad made him go there. Oh, it's child abuse. Josh Robinson, 87. 4 days before I got married, I went to White Hart Lane. I was right behind the goal that Danny Rose scored in the away end. What a horrible memory. If you could pick one player to score our goals on Sunday, who would you pick? Simon?
One player to score our goals on Sunday.
Yeah, all 8 of them.
All 8 of them. I'd just love, I think, if Walcott scored in a 2-0 win and just gave the 2-0 sign again. I think that would be
good shout.
Cause an absolute riot. I mean, it would cause a riot, but it would be funny.
This time walking off uninjured. Holding his fingers behind his back like a kind of sneaky little thing at them. Jeff, what do you reckon? Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
There you go.
Definitely. You know, talking about. I mean, I've got some fantastic memories of North London derbies, and apart from the one where we won the double, I wasn't at the 71 match, but I was in 04. In 70, I think it was 78, 79, we beat them 5-0 at White Hart Lane, and they was a better team than us at the time. Really, and we had and it was back in the days when it was. I think it was standing back then. I can't remember now, but we had the upper tier as well as the lower tier, and that
was because it was a cup game, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was a league. I can't remember, Steve, to be honest with you, but I remember 5-0 and Brady scored a mental curler. I think.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And you could see from beyond the goal where we had both tiers. It was Ramo. It might have been you could be right, Steve. It might have been a cup game because we was definitely upper and lower tier.
23rd of December 1978 Or was that the one where Sunderland got a hat trick?
There was fat, and it was much more hostile in them days.
Oh, God,
It was a lot more aggravation. You couldn't get in or out of the ground. There wasn't too much segregation. There was kicking off in the shelf every 5 minutes, and there was a few bits of ructions in the Paxton Lane where a few Arsenal got in there, and the atmosphere was electric. And to do them 5-0 at Airgaff, it was unbelievable.
Do you remember the?
So Sunderland hat-trick that day. Brady got one and Stapleton got one. It was the 23rd of December 1978. Is that the one you're on about?
Correct, yeah.
Do you remember the blow-up Dole derby?
Yeah. Superb, mate. Superb.
This was for younger listeners. David Pleat, who commentates on the BBC, they like employing sex offenders.
Curb crawler.
Curb crawler. He was Nick Curb crawler for soliciting an underage prostitute at King's Cross twice. And he was made to sit in the box of directors by I think it was Alan Sugar, and there's a superb picture before the kickoff. Because I remember I was at the game and we were all in the Park Lane, and all you could hear from about big mob of Arsenal when there was sex case, hang him.
Do we have T-shirts printed as well outside?
Yeah, outside. Yeah, the pictures of the sun that we all had, and flags as well, holding it up like the sun. Sex case, Spurs manager, hang him. And this was being chucked throughout the game, and then all of a sudden Spurs got a free kick just on the sort of edge of our box, and just as sort of like Gazza got the ball and put it down there and walked back, he was talking with Waddle. This blow-up Dole floated across the goal, and the Spurs players saw it and they all started laughing. When you looked at this blow-up Dole, it was one of the old-fashioned ones, like star position, mouth open, and written right across this blow-up Dole's breast was Dave's Bird in lipstick. and it landed just behind the far post, and the old Bill jumped on it, and they were trying to puncture it. Problem is, every time they tried to puncture it, it sat up, and everybody would start laughing. All the players were in fits. Gascoigne fucked up his free kick. I think we went on to win the game. I can't even remember the result because it was so. I remember just getting home, and it's the only time on Match of the Day I've heard John Motson and Trevor Brookings sniggering throughout the whole game. And just as he introduced the game, Motson. He didn't mention. He said, "What was it? That there's been the Spurs managers has been involved in some business, which legal business this week, which was unsavoury," was the word he used. And the camera cut to him sat in the director's box, and he was sat there looking there with great ignominy on his face, as every single member of the Tottenham board looked down the row at him as if to say, "You fucking nonce." It was one of the best days out I've ever had at football. That
the blow-up Doles and the verbals and the songs was just honestly second to none. It was absolutely legendary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Those blow-up Dolls, of course, made famous by a certain episode of Only Fools and Horses, where they pop up at the back window. I'll never forget that episode. Superb. Danny, anything else we've got there?
You won't be surprised that in 1996, when we were playing Sheffield Wednesday, Ian Wright got reported to the FA for calling David Pleat a pervert, and Ian Wright's response was, Wright is quoted in the newspaper yesterday as saying, David Pleat can do what he likes. He can report me to the FA, but I just ask why he is doing it. But if I have to appear before the FA, I'll have to say that Mr. Pleat, he is a pervert, and you can print that. And that is from September '96. Oh, he loves to get stuck in, doesn't he? I'm trying to find a picture of the T-shirt, but I haven't got time to find it. But yeah, I remember seeing those. They're absolutely brilliant.
I remember when
I'll tell you where you'll find pictures of them on the Opera account, the Arsenal Art Project, because somebody's sitting a picture of some guys walking up Avenel Road with him on.
Oh, lovely. I've got the entire list of every Arsenal game against Spurs, so if anyone's got anyone they want to pick me out, I can tell you the game. But an odd fact, my first ever game against Spurs was away in 1987. Just looking it up, 18th of October 1987. They went 1-0 up, I think it was Nico Clarkson, and then we scored with Rocastle and Thomas, and that was the first of 12 North London derbies I've never seen us lose. So if anyone wants to pay for me to get a courier, chuck me in the back of a van, take me down the stadium, I'm well up for that. No, actually I'm not going to go, but yeah, not bad. 12-0. How many, Steve and Jeff, how many games do you reckon you've seen North London derbies, and have we lost many?
Poor, you know what? I think I've missed maybe 2 in the last 30 years, home and away.
The first one I went to would have been in '68 or '69 when I was about 6 or 7. I was at the '71 game. I went with my dad and my granddad. It was
That
about
must have been mental, Steve. Mental.
well, imagine I was like 10. So I mean, it must have been 20. It seemed like there was 50,000 Arsenal locked outside. Gary Lawrence, who was at the game, he reckons there was 20,000 locked outside, and there was a lot more up and down the Seven Sisters Road. Yeah. But when I remember talking to Charlie George when I was on the Legends tour with my daughter, and he was saying that I said to him like. At the end of that game, I remember you doing a runner for the tunnel, and he burst out laughing. He said, "Yeah," he said, "You're not kidding." He said, "I'm a local Holloway lad." He said, as soon as he said we scored, he said, and the whistle went, I was off. He said, because I knew what was going to happen. He said that you lot would all be on the pitch. But I mean, I never got on the pitch. My dad and granddad said, right, boss, we're going there. We get out, and we sort of went through all the crowd and out the other way. But of course, the thing was, it was only part one of the job being done, really, because we had the Scousers to deal with at Wembley. But I haven't been to a North London derby for 14 years now. The worst one I can remember was I didn't go to a game because my mum banned me from going because I got nicked at a game, and I was about 17, and my mum had some posh guests and work round, so I wasn't allowed to listen on the radio. So I had to go and sit outside in my dad's Triumph Vitesse and listen on the radio, and we lost 4-0. And fucking Garth Crooks scored a hat trick. I remember sitting in the car fucking crying my eyes out because I hate that fucking cunt.
The two that I vividly remember, well, it's probably three, but I was at the one that I remember being at. Was there? Do you remember the Limburg winner when he lobbed it over Casey Keller? From memory, we were actually a goal down in that game, and Pires and Limburg scored. It was when Freddie had his red hair, and he kind of looped it, and it got a massive deflection and looped over Casey Keller. I was behind that goal that day, and that was amazing, just the most amazing feeling on that because we didn't play very well. We got that goal, just everything went up. It went absolutely radio rental.
The good thing is he's still being exceedingly bitter Spurs on American television, probably from that incident as well.
Oh, absolutely. Southampton are beating Inter Milan, by the way. Woof.
Was that Limburg game? Was that home or away?
It was home. I think Pires got the equaliser. No, it was 2-1.
Oh, I'm
sure.
Didn't he like scoring against Spurs, Robert Pires?
Oh god, yeah, that one where he changed the one where he changed feet in the was it the 5-4 at White Hart Lane when he changed feet?
Sat the keeper on his arse. That's right. What a goal that was! Unbelievable. But you know, even the semi-finals we've had with Tottenham. Obviously, we lost the first one. I'm talking about the FA Cup semi-final when we played at Wembley a couple of times, and then we played at Old Trafford as well, didn't we? I think we beat them.
Yes,
but they've always been good as well, you know.
We beat them at Wembley as well.
Yeah, we did the year after, didn't we?
Yeah. The other one I vividly remember was do you remember the goal where Wrighty did up I think it was Stephen Carr on the touchline and looped it to the back stick?
Chris.
Did you find it?
Freddie Ljungberg scored. Keller was in goal. It was the 6th of April 2002. Ljungberg scored
go.
First. Then Sheringham got a penalty in the 81st minute, and then Lauren scored an 86th minute winning penalty.
No, it wasn't that one. No.
That's a brilliant game because that's the game where the penalty was given, and there was a discussion between Vieira and Pires as who should take it. In the meantime, Tim Sherwood was throwing an absolute tantrum like a 5-year-old because we got given a penalty, and Lauren just stepped up and smashed the ball in the back of the net.
It was the worst penalty you've ever seen as well. Rolled straight down.
So bad, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember everyone going, "Why on earth is Laron taking this penalty?"
And he ran away he ran off like he'd done it 1,000 times before, didn't he? He's like, "Yeah, that's what I do." You know.
He was a nutter, wasn't he, Laron?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you seen that tackle of his on Ronaldo?
Oh yes.
He was one of those at Old Trafford in 2003, wasn't it? He was getting right in Van Nistelrooy's face.
Yeah.
Oh,
he loved a scrap, didn't he?
I saw him on the team coach, where there was a ruckus between Edu and Patrick Vieira, and Lauren got in between them, and he had the pair of them by the throat at arm's length, separating them, allegedly being the peacemaker. David Dean was doing his fucking bollocks outside the coach, trying to get the fucking Norwegian TV to fuck off. So we're at Rosenborg.
He's a black belt in one of the martial arts, wasn't he? I think Lauren.
Yes, yeah.
He used to play with peseta, the old Spanish currency, in his sock or something, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah, because it was lucky, wasn't it? Yeah.
That game, Chris, other game... 8th November 2003. Darren Anderton scored in the 5th minute. Perez equalised in the 69th, and then Ljungberg scored the winner in the 79th.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
70
really.
minutes. That's right. Last 10 minutes. Yeah. And the other game I remember was the absolutely pissing with rain. I bet Jeff was at this one. Well, he was if he only missed two. Pissing with rain. It was 1-1. We went a goal behind. I think it's Andy Sinton from memory got the opener. We got back level and we got 2 goals in the last 10. Dennis scored an absolute worldie at the back stick when he brought it down off the touchline, dragged it back inside and smashed it past Ian Walker. And then Ian Wright did up. I think it was Stephen Carr. Was it Stephen Carr? No, it wasn't. No, it was Clive Wilson, I think, on the far touchline, right at the corner flag, skinned him. Danny Mills on style, and he pinged it to the back post. Tony Adams, of all people, hit a volley across.
Yeah, I remember that.
Across Ian Walker. Do you remember that into the
Fantastic goal. Bergkamp's goal was unreal, wasn't it, as well?
Oh, that touch to bring it in from the touchline outwards, back inside him. And then he left some Spurs player on his arse. And it was. I just remember him sliding off on his knees, and it was absolutely pissing with rain.
Similar to his Leicester goal that he scored, wasn't it? Really, when he flicked it back inside and smashed it, brilliant.
That's it. And I remember having a massive row with my dad that day because I was still a young teenager and I had to fight for the remote control from my sister. And I was trying to explain to my dad how big a game it was, and I was absolutely minging with flu. And I was watching the game with tomato soup on my lap, and that soup ended up all over the place when that goal went in. It was just
the memories.
Weird.
The memories, eh?
Yeah, it's weird what you remember. Have we got any others, Danny, before we go?
Simon talked about his favourite memories.
Oh, sorry, Simon. I've pulled
right.
the quick away.
No. I mean, because I was quite a young fan of it, I still, winning the title at White Hart Lane is obviously, an amazing, that game was favourite, but still my favourite North London goal that I can remember was, someone actually mentioned it in that tweet, that Rosicky goal, where he picked it up, I think it was, how many years ago was it? A couple of years ago, 2-3 minutes into the match, when he just nicked that ball and just outside of the boot, and he just bent it at White Hart Lane round sort of 25-30 yards. And it's such a good goal. And I always loved Thomas Rosicky from when he signed for us. I remember buying his shirt, and great player. And that goal's my favourite North London derby goal. But it's the memories that it brings with it, the games, is why I think it's one of the best games, isn't it? Because obviously there's great games and stuff, but you'll always remember the derby games. And thankfully for us, they're normally good memories anyway.
Yeah, well said.
I think mine would have to be, I know I talked about it a bit, but that first ever game, my first ever football game, I've not even been to see any football games at any level, was that one in just after my my 17th birthday in 1987. And then I said to my dad, can I go to a game? He went, I was sitting on the stairs. He said, you sort it out? Because I come from a family where nobody likes football, even now. I mean, my dad come with me for years, and my mum's been to one game. My brother hates football. So I'm even with the offspring, struggling to get her to like football. And I remember going there and thinking, this is quite good. And I don't remember a single thing about the game. All I remember is all the crowd shouting and screaming at each other. And then we made a massive mistake after the game. My dad had a Sea Reg Montego estate, a beige colour thing, and we saw the flag, all the scarves. So we hung a scarf out the back of the back window and did it up. And as we were driving away, leaving the ground, about 10 Spurs fans come running after us, punching the back of the car. Thought, right, won't do that again next time.
I can't think which game was more painful. Either that Danny Rose 2-1 game, I can remember watching that, I think it was a midweek game, or the 4-4 last minute, whoever it was who scored it, David Bentley with the halfway.
Yeah.
I can't think which is more painful. Those two. That 4-4 was
painful, very painful.
That was one of the biggest lows, I think, for Wenger. That was...
We've had some right old ding-dongs over the years. We had the 5-1 in the League Cup, and then we followed straight after that we had the 4-4.
The 5-2 recently with Van Persie scoring that. I know he's a great goal in that.
But looking stuff like on the 13th of November 2014, we beat them 5-4 at the Lane. I mean, how do games like that constantly keep appearing? Just looking at some of the results.
But you're a good one as well, because they weren't great games last year.
No, I mean, just looking at the last few, there's been a 2-2, a 1-1, a 2-1 to us in the League Cup, a 2-1 to them in the league, and then a 1-1.
That was Flamini, wasn't it? That Flamini's great goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Last year.
If we start like we started against Chelsea, and we put a lot of pressure on Loris will fuck up. We might well smash this mob right out of sight on Sunday. Really give them a booting if we start well.
Got to start like Chelsea.
If he wants to just play it as they normally play it and start playing out of the back, I'll tell you, mate, they've got it up, and mate, because that Alexis, he'd be round him like an old dog. Don't worry about that.
Well, just imagine if they're fucking around at the back there. I mean, Carl Walker or Danny Rose with Walcott and Alexis bearing down on them. It's just a nightmare for Spurs fans waiting to happen. And then the other thing is, of course, you've got Loris and his being crap Morris dancing at fucking corners as well. So plenty of room for it.
And to end their unbeaten record, let's not forget that, because they're all, of course, giving it beans about, oh, we're unbeaten. Well, to end that record would be...
Yeah, by smashing them to fucking bits.
Exactly, yeah, properly ruining them. Yeah.
Right, let's get on and get through a few more of these things. AFC BAM says, my thoughts are that it shouldn't be called a North London derby as those lot are from Middlesex.
How
Steve,
right
like that
he
one.
is. How right he is. Right to London cunts.
Cat in the Wall says, my favourite ever league derby, a 3-1 win, a feisty match, and late great goals from DB10 and Tony Adams.
That's the one we were just talking about.
That's the one, yeah.
Akib says, fuck Tottenham. I think we can all agree with that one.
I think we can agree with that, yeah.
Sir Gunner says, our wingers have to be ready. We're always punished down the wings. Monreal, if playing, has to have a ball. Bellerin too. Right. Sometimes these don't come across that much brilliantly because you've only got 140 characters to try and get it across in. But I think
the secret to it is if you want Nacho to have a good game, Iwobi and whoever's playing on the other side have got to be disciplined in front of their the defender.
I think that might be a bit of a too big occasion for Iwobi. Maybe I'd put the Ox on the left if Theo's fit.
You've got to play Iwobi.
You've got to play Iwobi. Speediness of feet versus Kyle Walker's slow brain. Just flash him a tin of pedigree chum and fucking run past the guy.
But maybe he's been working on it, saying, look, you've got to give him more support on the left hand side. You can't keep running.
You've got to let him march on, that Walker. Fuck him. Don't worry about that. because as soon as when he's at the other end of the pitch, mate, he leaves great big gaping back holes back there. He'll get ruined, mate.
And he does lose the ball as well.
Yeah.
This next one is Simon. It's one of your very own. It's from Luke Miller. He says, 1 year ago was my debut blog for the Bergie blogs. Had a great time since. Cheers for having me, guys. Oh, you know how he feels, don't you, Simon?
Good man.
Does Jeff
great addition?
Does OG treat you kindly?
Or he does. He's a gentleman.
Oh, bless his socks.
Gentle lover.
Shenai Guna says, the greatest North London derby for me was when King Henry single-handedly ripped apart the scum and scored one of his greatest ever goals. As I said that, I know all of you were replaying that goal in your head, running down the wing, making them look silly and then taking on the entire team.
Statue.
The best thing about that goal is that many years later after it happened, Gary Neville used that goal as an example of why midfield players should be static and should tackle instead of being turned in and out of their own arsehole 3 times. And he did it right in front of Jamie Redknapp, who was the person who got Henry turned inside his own arsehole 3 times. Highly amusing.
Right, he says, this is from Trig Guna and Jordan Chappelle have both had a similar question. If Gibbs and Monreal are both injured, who the fuck is going to play at left back? Also, who would be your 2 CMs if Santi is injured? Anybody got any answers for this? Simon, do you know who would be our left back?
If both were injured?
Yeah.
I imagine he'd play Coquelin at left back if he had to.
Oh.
Can't think that he would move. Or Jenkinson there, maybe. Those would be the only options, I think.
Debussy's not alive anymore, is he?
I don't know what's going on with him. I heard he was in training.
Debussy was involved in
Jenkinson, I think he'd probably stick Jenkinson there, I think, to be honest.
Yeah.
Go on, Steve, what were you going to say about Debussy?
But Debussy was involved in some social media stupidity, not football connected, obviously.
I saw that, yeah. I think with Monreal's, I reckon he's not going into national duty or anything, so it'd be one of those if you can just get him through with painkillers, and then you can rest him for 2 weeks. Although Wenger describing Gibbs' injury said Gibbs got touched on the shoulder, so I don't understand what.
That means he's dead.
He got touched on the shoulder and he's now a doubt. So
shatters because he's made of glass.
Yeah.
Got the equaliser last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah.
So if no Santi, I'll go around all of you. Who would be your midfield pairing to Jeff? Central midfield 2.
Sorry, mate, I missed that. I beg your pardon.
If Santi's injured, which he almost definitely will be, who would you pick in for our midfield central 2?
El Neni and Coquelin.
Anybody disagree with that?
No.
the obvious choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Xhaka is as good a player as he is.
Liability.
I just worry. Yeah,
I don't like Ramsey in the two either. I think.
No,
I
me
don't
neither.
Ramsey-
Not disciplined enough. Not in
I
that
know
role.
that Ramsey shouldn't start the game. He should be on the bench.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
A lot of Ramsey fanboys will be moaning, but he's not disciplined enough to sit in front of his man. Secondly, he's not match fit, and in this game, you just can't risk him fucking around losing the ball in the middle of the park and getting a break off on it.
Yeah, the fitness is a huge thing, isn't it? In a game of this intensity, you can't be risking any muscle injuries. So, no, I agree.
20 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go. If you're 4-0 up, then you bring Xhaka and Ramsey on to take the piss and let Xhaka take Dele Alli out.
Right.
By the head.
Employee 439 says his favourite, his first North London derby in the flesh was the Rosicky one. He scored around the length of the field. That was wonderful. And we've already talked a little bit about that. Ellis Mill says, from our very own radio, says, why is November such a bad month for us, and can we overcome the hoodoo? God, I've got no idea. Any of you got an idea of why we're all so bad in November? Go on, him.
Because the weather changes, and it sounds stupid. What happens in November is the pitches get wetter, they get softer. Certainly up north, the weather gets a lot worse, and pitches are not drying out. So what happens is people get the ball moves quicker on those pitches, or the ball holds up in where there's water in the pitch. That's how people get injured. That's why we get a lot of injuries in November, and it gets worse into December. That's why some clubs are clamouring for a winter break. That's why England think a winter break would suit them, but it would suit Arsenal because we get like half of November out the way. But it's definitely connected with worsening weather conditions and the players sliding around more, falling over, not being able to stand up properly.
I think it'll be different I think as well, it's also that November normally by then, when Arsenal didn't have as big a squad, most of the players been playing pretty much flat out. If you remember last year, it was Sanchez and Cazorla pricked up injuries against Norwich, even though they're in the red zone because Wenger couldn't rotate. I think this year will be different because the squad, like we've spoken about, is bigger and can rotate. But this whole November thing, it is Wenger. There was a stat today. I think he got told that he's picked up the least points in November. And I'm reading Ray Parler's book at the moment, which is a very good book, by the way, anyone hasn't read it. And even in that, he goes, we always seem to do terrible in November. So it is a sort of thing, I don't know, psychologically might be a bit as well, but I think there is, as Steve's saying, that change in the weather. And
if you think about how we play our game and the ball along the pitch, normally what we're banking on is...
always great in August, isn't it, in September?
Yeah. You pass the ball and it's gone and you're moving, yeah? Well, you pass the ball, you catch your stud, you twist your knee, or you pass the ball and some fucking lummox goes straight through you from behind it, sliding through it, 100 mile an hour. There's those sort of things going on. But, you were just talking about rotating more. Well, he's done it again. He was playing Santi 2 and 3 times a week when there was no need for it. And now he's injured again and probably he's going to miss the derby. But hopefully we'll get away with it.
Yeah. I think with Santi, we saw it against Middlesbrough. There's just no one who can replace him. And I think that's why he hates. I agree, he needs to rest him more, but I think he's almost like there's no one who I can replace you with because he's that good. That's the difficulty with him, I think.
We got another one here, quick one, another tweet from Jackaology. I remember we unanimously clapped and cheered when Flamini went through Danny Rose. # won the ball.
That was a thing of beauty.
And there's one here from Raj, which only Steve and Jeff will understand, probably, because I've got no idea. There was that day in the alley, ... Do you know what he's on about?
Ali?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's...
Sounds like shenanigans and hijinks went on somewhere.
He's mostly talking about one of his brass equipment.
That's a very harsh way to talk about some of the Arsenal supporting women,
He's a massive punter for a brass old rod. Don't worry about that on the quiet.
I'm going to have to grass you up to Gooner Princess. You called her that,
Oh, never in a million years.
Right, Pigmund J. Hamkenstein.
I wonder if he's on about the rapey element in the firm in the alley.
I don't know. Piggy says, which Arsenal player do you think is likely to have his junk manhandled by Vertonghen in the NLD? I've got no idea. One hand on the beard. One hand in the beard, one hand on his junk.
Well, I hope he smacks him right between the fucking eyes with it, Vieira style.
Oh dear. Right, this is nearly 11 p.m. in Poland. We're going to get a move on. Jack Jones, how many windows can Harry Kane lick within 90 minutes? I think they have to put a mouth guard on him, so I don't think he'll be licking any. Noma, she always comes up with really good questions. Noma, Mabandala. Oh, God, I've gone and ruined it. I should have just left it at Noma. She says, should we worry about Kostafi? That's the Koscielny and Mustafi partnership. The goals chances we've conceded of late have been from glaring errors. Got away with a few.
Bit worried about Mustafi. We've got away with it because we've won, but he's made a few glaring errors the last 4 or 5 matches.
Anyone got any idea why? Or should we be worried? I don't know.
He's only been here 2-3 months, and he had no pre-season with us
Yeah.
and not much with Valencia. So I think, remember how long it took Koscielny to adapt, and Gabriel's still fucking adapting. So
And lately
Played-
he's been
played a
constantly
lot of
changing
football.
fullbacks as well, hasn't he? What do you say, Chris?
He's
Yeah.
he's a quality player, though. There's no doubt about it. He's just got to settle down again, hasn't he?
He's played a lot of football as well, and I suppose, I mean, like you say, I know without being harsh on Gabriel, and Holding did well at the start of the season. I know who I'd rather have as those two centre backs, and they are the two we've got now, and they build a real sort of partnership together, and that's what, like we've said on a number of times on this pod, the partnerships is what's key in these sort of games, these sort of situations. So yeah, I don't worry, but I do take Jeff's point. There's been a few moments where you've gone, ooh, hang on a second.
Koscielny's the key, isn't he? If Koscielny ever gets injured, that's it. I mean, he's the glue holding that whole thing together, isn't he?
Totally agree, yeah.
Right, final question from Janzeeb. This is something I was concerned about earlier. Thoughts over Iwobi in the last couple of games seems to get isolated by going deep with the left back advancing. Ox for the scum. Anyone got any thoughts on that?
Iwobi, I don't know about getting isolated, but one thing that does really concern me about him, he's a very young guy, and he's completely fucked after 55 minutes. You watch him in every game, and Arsenal really need to do some work on his stamina, because after 55 minutes, all of a sudden you'll suddenly see the opposition start getting at Monreal, and that's because Iwobi's puffed out and he's not getting back in position, and he's disciplined about getting back when the ball's lost. Opposition is something he's got to learn. He's a young guy, but I've not seen him get isolated. I think maybe isolate is not the wrong word. Being caught out of position is a better phrase.
Right, so there you go. That's all the questions done. And points
Superb.
covered, I think, if everyone's happy with that.
Yes, yeah, I
Jolly
think we've
good.
covered plenty of ground tonight. So thank you to all of our lovely listeners for your questions and memories and thoughts and whatnot. It's been really good. Nice just to shoot the shit, if you will, and pass around some thoughts between us all. So good stuff. Thank you all very much. Right, Danny, we will wrap up in our usual way then with some predictions and some shout outs. Shall we do the predictions first?
Yes, you want.
Yes, let's do it that way so you can write them all down. Let's start with Steve.
I think this is going to be a lot. I'd like it to be 5-0, but you've got to be reasonable and give Spurs some credit. I think we will win this 3-1, and I think the first score will be Alexis.
Interesting. Danny, got that written down, I hope.
Yes, I have.
Mr. Collings, what do you reckon?
2-0 and Walcott first scorer.
Oh, he's going for it. That one he wants. Jeff.
I fancy it to be the odd goal. I think we'll win 1-0, and I will go with Alexis Sanchez.
Danny, are you going to make one yourself?
Yeah, I think I'll have to go for a 1-0 as much as we like. I think it's going to be such a tight game. I think if we're going to score the goal and then we're going to shut up shop and then they're just going to spend the entire time killing people in Row Z. So I'm going to go 1-0 and I'm going to go El Neni. Just because I love for the shits and giggles of him scoring from the halfway line.
Going full rogue. I like that prediction.
As long as he doesn't ever go full Neuer.
Oh, never go full Neuer. No. I am going to go 2-1.
If you say Giroud, Jeff's going to get the
No,
it's all right.
I'm going to go Koscielny.
Ooh, corner.
But yeah, bet left field. One of those maybe pop up.
Bit of huge Loris Morris dancing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Splendid.
That's what I'm hoping for. Right, let's get some shout outs then from people. Let's go Jeff first.
Yeah. Let me just load it up 1 second. Okay, yeah. I've been speaking to a guy on Twitter for about 3 years now, and I looked at his follower account the other day, and it was at 200. Now, this guy, I could not believe it. He must be the most underfollowed guy on Twitter. I mean, I put a shout out straight away, and he got another 100 or something like that straight away. So that's up to him a little bit. But He's a great follow. You know, he's always having a little. He has a chip at a lot of the stuff that I say. We don't agree a lot, put it that way. But he's not abusive or anything like that. You can have a chat with him. He's one of them guys that's cool. It's TJG Marks, and it's Marks. Is the surname TJG Marks? He's a good follow.
Good stuff. Like it. Give him a follow, people. Give him some love. Simon, anybody you want to give a nod and a wink?
I'm just going to give a nudge to, as we know, our great friend OG was over in the UK earlier, a couple of weeks ago, and him and I had a lovely few beers and some pies at Pybury Corner, which I'm sure many of you know. But it's on the Holloway Road, near the ground. Great food, good tunes, lovely beers. You can follow them on Twitter at Pybury Corner, so go check them out, and I'll thoroughly recommend it. And I recommend the Dennis Bergkamp as well. It was lovely. That's why
Paul and Nikki, the two guys that one guy and one the couple. They're lovely people as well.
Yeah, they are. Paul's very nice actually.
Brilliant.
To us and
lovely guys.
Super.
And they're welcoming visiting fans as well, away fans. All tuck in, all join in. So yeah, no, it was nice.
Genuinely nice people. That's what we like to hear. Steve, who have you got for us?
I'm going to be a cheeky git. I've got two. One's Operation Arsenal Art, and this is a photographic exhibition of Arsenal fans' own photographs and their memories, personal memories of the Arsenal. And what they do is they collect these up, and they recently had a big exhibition at Pybury Corner. And they had it there for about 2 or 3 home games, and fans could go there and look at the pictures. And some of the things that people sent in were quite incredible, you know, about how their dad or their granddad came to go to the Arsenal or take them to the Arsenal. Quite a personal, wonderful set of memories of history of the Arsenal involving the fans, by the fans, for the fans. And you can follow them at OPAA 2016. So give them a follow.
And if you've got any, in one of those collages, don't we, Steve?
Yes, I think young Daniel may have been in one of them actually. But if you want to send them a picture, the email to send them to is in their Twitter profile at OPAA 2016. And the second one is an Arsenal shareholder called Jin Gon Jilly. She's an ex-professional friend of mine from the media when I worked in London. Her nickname is Matron, because she does like bossing people around and telling people off. She loves gin, she loves football, and she loves the Arsenal, and she's a really good chat and got a disgraceful sense of humour. And you can find her at Gin Gone Jilly. There you go.
Splendid. 2 more people for everyone to follow. Okay. And Danny, do you have one?
I certainly do. It is the Haitian sensation, the man who is seen running the streets of New York in all odd hours of the morning, Jacques Joseph, who is at TIJACQUOT. Now, people, please go and have a look at his recent tweets, because he got one of his wonderful daughters to do a baby rollover, and as she, I think it was either that, was it a baby rollover she did, or a cartwheel or something like that? And as she turns round, he's filming it, as she turns round from the cartwheel, she looks at the camera, and he says, "Ashley Maitland-Niles," and she shouts, "Conservative!" What a fantastic video that was. So yeah, so go and listen back to that. TIJACQUOT. Go and give him a follow, because he is a very, very funny bloke.
Fair play. And yeah, it was a fantastic video. I loved it. My shout out, it's a shout out and request, kind of, actually. My good friend Gaz, who Danny knows from our other pods, editor-in-chief, yes, Gazman Jones. Indeed, that is his Twitter handle. He is at Gazman Jones, GAZMAN Jones. He is down here in Plymouth with me, and he is going to be in London for the Southampton home game at the end of November, and he's looking for one extra ticket to take his lovely wife Penny. So if you know of anybody who can help him out, do drop him a line. I'm sure he'd be very appreciative of it. I don't think he's fussy about where he sits. He just wants to get a ticket. So, and it's my opportunity also to thank Gaz for all the work he does for me personally. It's very much appreciated. I'm sure he'll love that as he's chugging back on a few wines listening to this later. So thank you, Gaz. Right, Danny.
Can we just give a massive shout out to Maitland-Niles' mum for beating up Dick what's his name? Dick, the transfer
Dick Law.
bloke. Dick
Law.
Law.
Yeah.
And then abusing Mick McCarthy by text and threatening an Arsenal coach and getting nicked and removed from the ground. I mean, let's be fair. Everybody loves their mum, but to have your mum come out of her Bentley swinging at Arsenal officials it's really special.
Is this recent, Steve?
She's been last season. She's banned from Colney.
Yeah.
Maybe we
That's
should
right.
have her centre mid on Sunday. She'd do it.
I was just thinking that maybe we could play her at left back to get her to sort out Carl Walker.
Her
you
and
know,
Jack
I mean,
as centre mid.
yeah. Oh, yeah, come here, Dele Alli. I'm going to smack your ass for you, son. Just what he needs, isn't it? Beat the fuck out of him. She got out of her Bentley to clump him, Jeff, as well.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Spirited lady.
Right.
Wow. There we go.
Lovely.
So shout out to Mrs. Maitland-Niles.
Conservative.
Conservative.
Actually, by the sounds of it, UKIP.
Oh, yeah, could be.
I don't think so.
No, probably not.
Right, Danny, unless there's anything else you want to plug, we should plug there is a blog out, isn't there?
There is.
Actually,
It came out yesterday.
that was written by Drew, I think, wasn't it? I'm sure it was by Drew.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. I'm
It is.
not
It's by Drew. Yeah,
It was.
very good.
Thank
It's
you,
all
sir.
on the month of November. So
I'm glad someone's awake.
as we've been discussing about
It's
our November
called-
woes.
It's called Why
So-
November is Arsenal's Make or Break period, and that is by our very own Drew, who is at AFC BVB 1410 because he's a follower of Borussia Dortmund, much like quite a few of us are.
It's good. Give it a read.
And we have a new blog every Tuesday. And who's up next, Drew? Drew. Who's up after Drew, Simon? Do you know?
I think it's me.
Can you give us any insight into what you may well be doing, or do you just make it up on the day?
I need to get my quill and ink out and have
Yeah.
a good think, but
Oh, get you
it
thinking.
might be
hat on.
dependent a bit on Sunday. But
Good.
That isn't a euphemism, ladies and gentlemen. He really
Danny,
means.
Danny Rose has got AIDS and while Carl Walker needs to stay off the pedigree chum.
I'll put that in the suggestion box.
Lovely.
That's splendid effort. I'd like to hear a good bit of editorial control.
And we should also give our thanks to Mr. Davies as well, Danny, who's along with me.
Davis.
Davis. So it's your fault.
Sorry.
The Kit Kat Kid.
Mr. Davis, myself, Danny, and Jay sat down the other night and thrashed out some schedules.
We did for the first time ever.
I
5
know.
pods worth and 2 specials because we got Raj doing a follow up to the Alex Flynn book, Building of
Yep,
a Super
Finn.
Club. It's 2 more. Huh?
Don't make a Ricky. His name's Finn, not Flynn. I saw
What
you
did I-
promoting it the
Oh
other day.
Lord, is it
Fuck.
Finn?
Yeah.
Why do I
Finn.
think?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, he won't listen
F Y
anyway.
double N.
Oh,
Who, Alex Finn? You fucking will.
will he be listening?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he
you will do. I used to work for him at Saatchi & Saatchi.
Did you?
Nice bloke.
Oh,
Hunting
sorry,
party
Alex.
on its way to your door now, Danny, as we speak.
And then we've got someone doing Chaz is going to be talking to him about his time been mixing with Bergkamp, running his website for him and for somebody else, and mixing with all the other players.
That'd be brilliant, that one.
Yeah, who's going to? I think you're on with that.
Oh, that's
I
good. I'll be.
I think
delighted.
Goonaholic's on with that as well, isn't he?
Oh, wow! That'll warm the cockles of your heart on this cold winter night. Right, go on, Chris. Wrap it up. We've covered everything.
Yep, that was everything. Super. Okay, so all that remains to be said is to thank my guests, Simon, Jeff, Danny, and Steve. Thank you all, gentlemen, for your time this evening.
Pleasure.
Cheers,
To
thank
you
you.
as well.
Yes.
You
So
have to be
that-
here though.
Let me finish, for God's sake, man. So that was
Hello.
Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, keep it Arsenal and smash those fucking Spurs.
Who knew? I had the shock of my life the day before Jeff come round. Sean did some polishing. I thought my unit with my Xbox and stuff on was opaque. Apparently it's see-through. It had just never been dusted.
Is unit a metaphor?
And that looks blackcurrant. Is that blackcurrant? My one's cinnamon and red cherry.
freshening?
No,
What's all these air freshening candles, gentlemen? Are you farting a lot in your front room?
I just
I
love
just
the
love
smell
the
of
smell.
candles.
Yeah. I don't know what mine is. It's like a Christmas scent because I got it on reduced in Wilco's.
Oh, mine was £2 from Sainsbury's when I had my shopping.
175 mine.
Fuck,
you.
I've been done.
I miss Wilco.
Where's the Jeff?
Oh, 3-0. No, nearly 3-0.
Oh,
We're
there
not
he is.
losing.
Yeah, 2-0. The first goal, by the way, if you haven't seen it, look it up.
Apparently, it's outrageous.
It's a stunning overhead kick from Musa Sow.
And also, Chris, the other good bit about it is the fact the centre halves are so fucking wide apart. They're practically the width of Old Trafford apart.
That is also true.
Well, Mourinho's just it's fucking.
He's
hell.
hilarious. What a
I'm
mug.
hoping he has a stroke on Boxing Day and he's interviewed on Match of the Day.
Really think Bar Bradley could beat them this weekend.
Yes, I do. Is that at Swansea?
That's Swansea, yeah.
Yep. First one I
Sunday.
put money on that.
The Americans
Yeah.
don't rate him, do they?
Fancy to have the game
They
of
do.
his life.
I think they do rate Brad, don't they?
They do. Yeah, I was
thought they
wondering when you
hated
said
him.
that. Listening back on Sunday, Danny, I
The
thought you
players
were-
liked him anyway.
Yeah,
I
they did.
thought all the everyone didn't rate him. They said he's a shit. I mean, maybe I'm just taking Jason's opinion into too much account.
Yeah, no, they do. I wouldn't say he's not like world's greatest manager, but he did a lot for America. A lot. Did you hear the stat on Football Weekly today?
No, I haven't listened to that yet. What were they saying?
The fee that Mina Raiola pocketed for Paul Pogba
Was more than
would have
Gundogan.
paid for Gundogan.
Yeah.
Yeah. His entire
What
contract.
pod was that on?
Guardian.
You know, I really can't wait
Gundogan looks
until
fucking good, didn't he?
Oh, I've not heard that.
Yeah.
I've not heard today. I've heard Mondays with
And also
Barry
there's,
crying.
There's a brilliant stat as well, which I'm going to steal for the Satchel later on tonight, which is Falcao's goal scoring
goal.
record
That makes it so goal.
is better than Puskás, Di Stefano, Messi, and I think it's Van Basten's combined. His
And
goals,
add
goals
Jeff
game.
in somebody.
Falcao's.
Yeah.
Someone had you.
Hello.
Here
Right,
he
yeah.
is,
How the
Hello.
devil are you?
the voice
Yeah.
of reason.
I don't know about that. You all right, boys?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, always good. Need a wee.
Good. Oh, really?
Oh God!
Yeah.
Live pissing on the air.
How do I turn this down a bit? Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Oh,
Yeah, those Gooners in the USA. Did anybody listen to when I was on there?
it's on my download list.
I
I'm
thought it
getting-
was a bit.
Likewise.
I thought.
Yeah, anytime they get Mario did the same, didn't they? They like to get our backstory. I think it's quite because they got a different listener base, haven't they? So
Oh, they don't have much of a listener base, bless them. They are good though.
yeah, he asked a question tonight actually, which I'll ask. Have you got? I don't know if you saw what I did, Danny, from the podcast account earlier.
No, because I didn't
But-
wake up until 5:15 because yesterday I was up at 1
Lazy
and
fuck.
Sean's fucked off out today, and so if she's not here, then I'd just sleep.
Simon's been chasing football since 6 a.m. I've been in work since 7:30. Honestly, even Steve got up today.
Did he?
Good grief! Yeah,
Well, from another fall.
back to work today.
Oh.
I read these things.
And Jeff was just at home all
Yes.
day counting his monies.
Me, you're joking, mate. I've only just come in 5 minutes ago. Swear to God, running about like a lunatic all
wanna
day.
Do you want 5 minutes to get a cup of tea and a slice of cake? Jeff?
No, man, I've got a cup of tea and I've got some of your old favourites, cheddars here, mate.
My days of eating them are long gone. Oh, I can
Waiting,
eat them. They just
no
come back
more.
out too quickly.
Oh,
Too much information. Anyway, Danny,
Yes.
what I've done is I put a little tweety poo out from the pod account earlier on, just asking for people's thoughts or memories of North London Derby, first time they went,
That's
that
what
kind
I'm
of
doing
thing,
now. I'm cutting and pasting them.
because they're separate to the listener questions. If you can cipher between the two,
Yeah.
that would be bloody lovely.